New documents have been released, and oh boy, this one's a doozy. In the documents released from the Durham annex, it goes on to explain how Hillary Clinton approved of a plan to smear Donald Trump as being supported by the Russians, and it was Obama's intel agencies that were helping. When we put these stories together, what do you get? They knew it was false. They knew it was exaggerated. They were going to smear Trump anyway, specifically to cover up the Hillary Clinton email scandal and shift the view of the public towards Trump instead of her, because she had broken the law and Comey refused to prosecute her. You combine this with the other documents that Tulsi Gabbard released, which show Obama ordered this directly, and things are getting a bit interesting. Now, on top of this, we've got the Pelosi story, the Pelosi Act, as it were. And Trump was initially mad at Senator Hawley, but Hawley says he talked to Trump, cleared it up, and now Trump's actually on board. They may actually ban stock trading. So we'll talk about that. And then on top of that first story, we have a whistleblower. Apparently, there was a guy or an intel analyst who was threatened by the higher ups that he had to sign off on bad intelligence to smear Trump. Hence, this looks like a conspiracy against Trump and, when he was president, his administration. So we're going to talk about that and more. But before we get started, my friends, we've got a great sponsor. It is Beam Dream. My friends, go to shopbeam.com/ I believe it's /Tim Pool. Is that what it is? Or it could be Tim. /Tim Pool. Use promo code Tim Pool. That's the easy way to do it. Beam Dream is a delicious cup of hot cocoa. No sugar. You take it before bed. It helps you sleep. It's got magnesium. It's got melatonin. It's got L-theanine in it. I'm going to tell you, I've been drinking this nonstop for weeks now, and I have had the best sleep of my life, no question. And I've been dreaming a lot more vivid dreams. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I'll tell you this. I drink this right before bed after the show, and then within 15 minutes, I am comfortably out like a light. I wake up in the morning and I check my app that measures my sleep, and I've been hitting like 97, 98, 99 every day. I am deeply impressed. Not only that, but it tastes amazing. It's low calorie, and you just make it right before bed. It's fantastic. If this was nothing but hot cocoa, it would still be amazing, but it helps you sleep. So I recommend it. My friends, check out shopbeam.com/Tim. Use code TIMPOOL and you'll get 35% off. We actually had to tell Beam to send more because the other people who work here were like, "Can I try?" And I said, "No, I've taken all of the samples. They're mine." I'm not even kidding. I absolutely love this stuff. James O'Keefe was on the show and he was like, "Wait, what is this? I buy this stuff. This helps me sleep." I didn't think I needed it as much. And then I was like, I'm going to get into this routine, and holy crap. I go to bed. Warm, sunken in the bed. I wake up feeling like $1,000,000. I am loving it. So check that out. Shout out to Beam. Thanks for sponsoring the show. And for everybody else, if you're trying to stay awake, go to castbrew.com. In the morning, after I wake up feeling great, I like to have a little bit of Appalachian Nights. What I do is I actually make a double shot of Appalachian Nights. I put it in my protein shake. And it's like a mocha or a latte or whatever. I don't know. Depends on if I put chocolate in it. But go to castbrew.com, pick up some coffee. We got a bunch of amazing blends, and support the show with great coffee. For everybody else, smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. If you do like the work that we do, we'd really appreciate it. Appreciate it if you would share, and we'll see you all on Saturday. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we've got Joseph Gradante.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
Who are you? What do you do?
I'm the CEO of Alio Capital, ALLIO, Alio.
And what does this Alio Capital do?
It's a macro investing platform.
So,
yeah.
Interesting. So it's actually fortuitous that we have you because the Pelosi Act is a big story. And there's discussion about insider trading, how the ultra wealthy are playing these games, how the politicians are playing this game. So it'll be interesting to get your insights on how this whole infrastructure and investing works. So thanks for hanging out. Should be fun.
Yeah.
We got Mary hanging out.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mary Morgan. You can usually find me on Pop Culture Crisis here at Timcast alongside my lovely co-host. I finally get to say that to you.
Perfect. Yes. Guys, I am filling in today for Phil. It's Brett. Normally also Pop Culture Crisis, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get into it.
Here's the story from the New York Post. Read the documents that prove Hillary Clinton okayed plan to smear Trump with Russia collusion. This is from the New York Post, published today. They break down this annex. This is crazy stuff. Hillary Clinton and Obama were in on this scheme to smear Trump as a Russian asset, claiming that Russians hacked it or that Trump was colluding with them or something like that, which didn't just affect the campaign, but went into his presidency, resulting in a multi-year-long investigation that cost tens of millions of dollars. Take a look. Hillary Clinton signed off on a plan hatched by a top campaign advisor to smear then-candidate Trump with false claims of Russian collusion and distract from her own mounting email scandal during the 2016 campaign, according to explosive intelligence files declassified Thursday. The 24-page intelligence annex was compiled from memos and emails obtained by the Obama administration in the lead-up to Election Day that laid out confidential conversations between leaders of the Democratic National Committee, including then-Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz and liberal billionaire George Soros's Open Society Foundations. Can you believe this? The plot, the brainchild of the Clinton campaign's then foreign policy advisor, Julianne Smith, included, quote, raising the theme of Putin's support for Trump and subsequently steering public opinion toward the notion that it needs to equate the Russian leader's political influence campaign with actual hacking of election infrastructure. They say Smith would go on to serve as former President Joe Biden's ambassador to NATO. Quote, I don't have any comment, she told the Post when they phoned her on Thursday. Now, I want to scroll down. There's a little bit more. They show some documents. In one document, it says Obama has no intention to darken the final part of his presidency and legacy by the scandal surrounding the main contender for the DP. To solve the problem, the president puts pressure on FBI Director James Comey through Attorney General Lynch. However, so far, without concrete results. That is to say, Obama knew Hillary Clinton was scandal-ridden. She had a private server. This was illegal. They were refusing to prosecute. She had the server destroyed, phones smashed with hammers. And Obama was like, this is going to make me look bad if I do anything to intervene. So he leans on the FBI and says, you take care of it. And what happens? The FBI says, we will not bring charges against Hillary Clinton for the crimes she has committed. Shockingly insane. They're going to say Durham consulted the FBI and CIA, both of which assessed the information was likely authentic, but couldn't corroborate exact copies of the Bernardo emails with Open Society Foundations. The CIA also determined that the intelligence was not the product of Russian fabrications. Smith was at minimum playing a role in the Clinton campaign's effort to tie Trump to Russia, Durham concluded. Now I'm going to scroll down here. Page 7. This is where it gets interesting. Let me read you this paragraph. This is from the Durham annex. According to data from the election campaign headquarters of Hillary Clinton, obtained via the U.S. Soros Foundation, on the 26th of July, 2016, Clinton approved a plan of her policy advisor, Juliana Smith, from the TS, NAB, TS is an unknown acronym, to smear Donald Trump by magnifying the scandal tied to the intrusion by the Russian special services in the pre-election process to benefit the Republican candidate. As envisioned by Smith, raising the theme of Putin's support for Trump to the level of the Olympics scandal would divert the constituents' attention from the investigation of Clinton's compromised electronic correspondence. In addition, by subsequently steering public opinion towards the notion that it needs to equate Putin's efforts to influence political processes in the U.S. via cyberspace to acts against a crucially important infrastructure, would force the White House to use more confrontational scenarios vis-a-vis Moscow that as a whole suits Clinton's line of conduct. A relatively sluggish reaction by the administration to the events surrounding the DNC that led to the resignation of Chairman Deborah Wasserman Schultz provoked exasperation within the PC, possibly a political convention, and the entire deep state, which may also be used by Clinton to reinforce her position among the security service agents. To simplify, Clinton's campaign wanted to get the bad press off of her and shift the focus to Trump, and they knew that making this scandal bigger would force the Obama administration to target Trump with actual law enforcement capabilities. And then we got years of Trump being accused of being a traitor to this country, secretly working with the Russians the whole time because Obama didn't want to get his hands dirty, ordering the release of information they knew to be false. Holy crap, ladies and gentlemen, the more that comes out, the more shockingly insane we learn this story to be. And I guess the question then is for everybody watching, will anybody get arrested?
No, it's nothing ever changes, gang, over here.
That's like why it's not shocking is we just keep finding out that we were right in our hunches and our conspiracy theories, and the truth eventually does come out, and I guess that's a happening, but nothing changes as a result.
Do you see this leading to some type of prosecution?
You know,
or even grand jury?
Maybe. And I'll say this. Trump got arrested. You know, they arrested Donald Trump several times. They arrested his lawyers. So maybe they might actually go after Obama or Comey. I mean, they said they're investigating them. And the question is, does Trump have the willpower and does Trump want revenge? Or is this just big one puppet show to keep us distracted as they do a bunch of other weird stuff around the world and, you know.
And who ends up with the better mugshot, Trump or Obama?
It depends on what you mean by better.
Well, Trump got to hang his on the White House wall, so I'd say it's tough to top that.
That is crazy. That's
Right
not
in the Oval Office.
But that's not. Oh, did he hang the actual mugshot?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I went to the White House not that long ago, and the picture that Trump got, his presidential photograph, just looks identical to the mugshot. And I'm like, I think he did that on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
They gave him trace paper and just had him trace over
The
it.
he said, "Do the
dramatic
face."
lighting and that like raised eyebrow,
Yep.
stern.
He also looks thinner than, he looks thinner in that photo
What are
than
you
he
talking about?
actually
He's
is.
220 pounds.
What did you
know.
say? Did you call it a svelte 220?
Svelte, 220 pounds, mind you.
Firm. I want to show you guys this. We've got a video. This is from 2016. Listen to this.
According to the Washington Post, the CIA has concluded that Russia intervened in the election to help you win the presidency. Your reaction?
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's just another excuse. I don't believe it. I don't know why. And I think it's just, they talked about all sorts of things. Every week it's another excuse. We had a massive landslide victory, as you know, in the Electoral College. I guess the final numbers are now at 306, and she, down to a very low number. No, I don't believe that at all.
You say you don't know why. Do you think that the CIA is trying to overturn the results
No, I
of
don't
the
think they're
election or
saying
somehow to weaken you in office?
Well, if you look at the story and you take a look at what they said, there's great confusion. Nobody really knows. And hacking is very interesting. Once they hack, if you don't catch them in the act, you're not going to catch them. They have no idea if it's Russia or China or somebody. It could be somebody sitting in a bed someplace. I mean, they have no idea.
So why would the CIA put out this story that the Russians wanted you to
Well,
win?
I'm not sure they put it out. I think the Democrats are putting it out because they suffered one of the greatest defeats in the history of politics in this country. And frankly, I think they're putting it out. And it's ridiculous. We ought to get back to making America great again, which is what we're going to do. And we've already started the process.
I love how he says, to Trump, the CIA doing something wrong, that's a completely incredulous idea. The fact that
Well, at the
everybody...
time, it was a new idea. And I don't know where this falls on the timeline, this news hit. But I'm just reminded of the big mic drop moment in that second presidential debate in 2016 between Trump and Hillary, where he says, maybe some would say tongue in cheek, you'd be in jail if I were in power, if I were, in office, you would face criminal consequences for your private email servers while Secretary of State. And it was this big, he really just said that. But then he got into office and that didn't happen. And
Yep.
she didn't get arrested the first time for the same reason that she's not going to get arrested now. Now there's evidence too for the same reason that there is a little handshake between Trump and the deep state about the Epstein files now.
So what's the point of all of this declassification and the release if they don't intend to actually go after anybody?
I mean, just declassify all the other shit so that people stop asking about Epstein, I guess.
Distraction.
Yeah.
Keep the base happy.
They're not-
This is a woman who did her dissertation on rules for radicals, and yet there are people at my company who still will refuse to believe that, she had any part in this. No matter what you show them, they would, swear to you that Santa Claus is real before they would possibly believe that Hillary Clinton could do something wrong. So
Well-
I don't think there's, anything's going to come of this.
Well, I still don't
I
believe
don't
that
disagree.
Pizzagate is debunked.
But
that's
look
just me.
look at that video with who was that? Stephanopoulos? I can't remember who this guy was. Is he still on TV?
On Fox?
No, who is
Matthews? Is that Matthews there?
No, this guy, George
Yeah.
Stephanopoulos.
That's Matthews in this video.
That's
Chris Matthews.
That's Chris Matthews, man.
Yes.
Oh, you're right, man. I don't know who these guys are. They're ancient.
They do look alike, though.
Right, Chris Matthews. Okay, they as Brett brought up the shock. But what do you mean the CIA did something wrong?
CIA?
Not them.
I mean,
No, never.
I mean, even if we want to go back more
Innocence
recently,
agency.
NSA spying scandal was 3 years before this.
Tweeting that.
The Gulf of Tonga.
Yeah, like oh my goodness, as if Hollywood hasn't been making movies about all the awful things the CIA has been doing for the last 20 years.
The CIA is like, "Who, little old me?"
Yeah, they're like this. And I think to your point, I think you're right. Like the issue here is that it doesn't actually matter what the truth is because 10 gazillion people ran with the Russiagate
It's Chris
hoax.
Wallace.
And
I was gonna say, yeah, I don't know where Matthew's.
Nobody knows.
Wallace, Chris Wallace.
I don't know
okay,
who these guys
there you
are,
go. Chris
man.
Wallace.
Chris Wallace.
Fox Host 1, Fox Host 2.
This was like ages ago. Like
One of those guys.
But the point is like the damage is done. They did the reporting. They claimed that he was colluding with Russia, and the worst person you know and your highly liberal aunt all believe it. And they ruined a lot of friendships and a lot of relationships running something that they knew was a lie. And like you said, there are plenty of people, even if you're not talking just about what they think about Trump, they could not imagine a world where Hillary Clinton was evil, despite the fact that the rest of the world knows that she's pretty evil.
And I want to just make sure I include this other document. This is the 2020 ICA, which says, acting on President Obama's orders, DCIA Brennan directed a full review and publication of raw human intelligence information that had been collected before the election. CIA officers said that some of this information had been held on the orders of DCIA, while other reporting had been judged by experienced CIA officers to have not met long-standing publication standards. Some of the latter was unclear or from unknown subsources, but would nonetheless be published after the election over the objections of veteran officers on the orders of DCIA and cited in the ICA to support the claims that Putin aspired to help Trump win. It was all one big scam, and it was Obama and Hillary. And I'm going to say it again, as I said before. I think likely what was going on is the Clinton Foundation was taking hundreds of millions of dollars. I wonder where that money was coming from. When Hillary Clinton lost the election, the money stopped coming in. So the presumption many people make is that her private server was how they communicated for this illicit transfer of funds of U.S. government policy, private bribery, you can call it. And then when they said, we want to see the server, Hillary Clinton had it destroyed. Yeah. Irretrievable. And phones smashed with hammers. I think they went after Trump because they were like, we're in trouble. He's gonna start going after this stuff. This is what they do. They have to go after Trump first. So that if Trump responds in any way, they'll say, see, Trump is only doing this because we did this. Now take a look at the Epstein story. People keep saying that Donald Trump is distracting from Epstein, despite the fact the Obama Russiagate releases have been coming out well before the Epstein story came to prominence. Don't get me wrong, Pam Bondi, the DOJ, they've been screwing this one up royally, and Trump is acting real weird about it. I'll give you that. But he's not distracting from it because these documents were getting released and the conversation was happening well before the Epstein stuff happened.
Obama has one thing going for him. There's no photos of him and Epstein.
Yeah, that's good for him.
Yeah, he's got that going for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of other people like Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Bill Gates. Yeah. Uh-oh. Bill Clinton. You think Hillary went too with Bill?
Wait, was there ever actually that picture of Bill in the dress at Little St. James? There you go.
That's real.
Maybe Hillary bought that and brought it home.
Wait, a photograph or an illustration?
Painting.
Oh, I
Painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress.
see. Yeah.
It's weird.
But there were just all of these cameras there for no reason.
The one that Epstein had in his apartment, famously, correct?
I was on his island.
On his island.
Yeah, he also had George W. Bush with two little towers, and he was throwing paper airplanes at him. So the 9/11 truth movement went that proves it. Epstein and the two towers or whatever. Can I pull these up?
Oh, I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah. George.
It's such a disgrace, and it's so obvious. Like, it doesn't even need to be said. But people are still denying reality.
Wait, which part?
The whole. It's not even a mishandling of the Epstein files situation. It's very intentional what they're doing, and I feel it malicious.
George W. Bush with two paper airplanes and two toppled Jenga towers.
Wow.
Yeah, that was in Epstein's island. That's creepy.
That is really creepy.
Yup. Oh, look at this. I got the Bill Clinton in the blue dress. Let's pull this one up. Let's disturb the audience.
That
a little
is
bit
so
further.
wild. This is my first time seeing the other one.
Do we think Monica Lewinsky worked for Mossad?
No. Why?
I've heard that.
I mean, she
Bro, at
just
this point,
started.
Chuck E. Cheese works for Mossad.
She
Or at the very least that she worked for some intelligence agency and
Why?
Purposefully was gathering blackmail on him.
Why?
But it came out, right? So it doesn't really matter. Like, wouldn't the whole point be that it doesn't come out? That she gathers the intel or uses her feminine wiles to blackmail him, and then the whole point is to keep it out of the public, not have it leak to the public?
Yeah, I don't think she's smart enough.
Well, then Mossad needs to change their hiring practices if that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It does kind of show you this Orwellian society that we're living in, though, when you think of people like Saul Alinsky, George Soros, Hillary Clinton, and just the lack of general information that people have about who these individuals are and this power apparatus that exists behind the...
And the Soros Foundation was involved. They were communicating over this stuff, which is weird. Yeah. Weird. And everybody who brought up Soros was called a conspiracy theorist. Yeah. I'll tell you guys, you want something interesting? When we first booked Mike Benz, who's been calling out USAID and all this stuff for a long time, I got spam blasted by weird liberals telling me that I shouldn't have him on the show. And I'm like, what? Like, why are you DMing me, bro? This is weird. They were panicked and desperate that we would not bring Mike on the show.
He comes with endless receipts.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
It is funny that you mentioned it too, that you said that Hillary Clinton, she did her dissertation on rules for radicals. And what he mentioned was that they started accusing Trump of all of this stuff because it dirties him up so that they can't have accusations thrown back at them, which is right out of the playbook from
right
the
out
book.
of the playbook. That's why I brought it up. Yeah.
That's very depressing, and it is true also that we live in an age now as the internet becomes more prevalent that it's your parents and your grandparents that have this kind of a higher definition of what a politician might be because they were fed years of propaganda from mainstream media outlets, depending on whether they were left or right, whether it was Fox telling you that Democrats were evil or CNN telling you that Republicans were evil, and the rest of us who have moved on to greener pastures getting their information from other places or just have any level of common sense, understand that pretty much all politicians are awful on some level.
Yeah, it's basically Democrats and Republicans for me is tantamount to, Santa Claus and Easter Bunny at this point. Yeah.
Let's jump to this next part of the story. We have a post from DNI Tulsi Gabbard. New whistleblower reveals how they were threatened by a supervisor to go along with the Obama-directed Russia hoax intelligence assessment, even though they knew it was not credible or accurate. The whistleblower refused. Yesterday, we released the whistleblower's first-hand account of what happened in the crafting of the January 2017 ICA. Their years-long effort to expose the egregious manipulation and manufacturing of intelligence carried out at the highest levels of government and the intelligence community, detailed in our previous releases, and how they were repeatedly ignored. Thank you to this courageous whistleblower and others who are coming forward now, putting their own well-being on the line to defend our democratic republic, ensure the American people know the truth, and hold those responsible accountable. So we have the whistleblower's explosive story and evidence, Tulsi Gabbard says here. And so there's a lot to break down. It's 19 pages. We're not going to go through the full thing, but we do have this. This is from the Federalist. Clapper crew threatened whistleblower who refused to sign off on fabricated intel assessment. A crony of then DNI James Clapper threatened to withhold a promotion from a senior intelligence official unless he concurred in the fake intelligence community assessment on Russia's meddling in the 2016 election. Notes obtained by the Federalist show. The notes made public for the first time today recount a conversation the top analyst in the Office of the Director of National Intelligence had with an unnamed superior who worked closely with then-Director James Clapper. The release of the notes represents the latest cache of documents declassified by the Trump administration official concerning the ICA, this we understand. According to a person familiar with the notes, the analyst documented his recollection of the conversation on March 31st, 2023, more than 6 years after the conversation occurred. The delay, the Federalist source explained, occurred because the analyst's efforts to share his concerns first with the Inspector General of the IC and then later with Special Counsel John Durham and Virginia Senator Mark Warner proved unsuccessful. Only later did the analyst receive an inquiry for more information about his claims, leading to the drafting of the summary of his recollections. Well, there you go.
I saw up there it mentioned the Steele dossier, so this is connected to everything that was in that intel packet.
The Steele dossier was just Oppo research, fake garbage, and they passed it off as real to go after Trump.
Yep.
I mean, I think this might be the biggest political conspiracy or scandal in the history of this country.
And it won't matter because in 2 days the internet will have moved on from it, and that's the sad part.
I mean, maybe we've been on the story for a few weeks now. We've been on the story actually for months. If you're talking about the statements made by Kash Patel and further made by Dan Bongino later on.
I feel like, but with the amount of information that comes out every day, people are going to start kind of judging these things on who actually is punished as opposed to all of the details coming out. Because you could have all the information in the world. If nobody's held accountable, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people that don't think anything's going to happen, but I'm not convinced nothing's going to happen. And I'll put it this way: if something does happen, it just will feel like nothing. Like
Yeah.
When we say nothing ever happens or nothing ever changes, Trump did get arrested several times. He did lose in court several times, and so he did get he got arrested.
I think people think that nothing ever happens the other way. Nothing ever changes the other way. Democrats are never held responsible.
Indeed, but that sounds like a cop-out.
Maybe on like the state level, like the ones who are like attacking ICE agents might actually get arrested. But at the federal level, it doesn't feel like, and I think when people think of that idea, they're thinking of the Clintons, they're thinking of the Obamas, they're thinking of the Bidens.
Well, we have a poll up, and the question is, Obama will be charged. The options are Obama will be charged or nothing will happen, and nothing ever happens is at 63%. Defeating Obama will be charged. So even with all of this, the expectation for most people is that nothing will change. If that's the case, what are we doing here? Honest question.
Pray.
If the reality is most people are blackpilled on this issue, why don't we all talk about football? Go.
Well, I think there's this underlying hope that the system could change. I know deep down inside, I mean, I have this naive hope that the system can change if enough people are made aware. Do I think people like Clapper and guys like John Brennan are going to be held accountable? No, I think they might be held out there, but I question how accountable they could be held, given that they know, I mean, where the bodies have been buried for how many years, going back all the way to the Bush administration and really even before that. And so, they have a lot of ammunition on their side as well. But the more people become aware of what's going on, then the more people can take an active role in potentially changing the system, right? It starts with information.
Mary, do you care about this?
On the broad scale, yes, because I think that the right decision isn't just to disengage from politics altogether, obviously. Although I think that Trump's victory and the last 6 months have actually made people on the right more complacent, and it's made them disengage because they haven't been delivered what they were promised. And I think the path forward is actually to just start imagining what this ideological side, if you want to call it that, should look like past the point of Trump.
Mm-hmm. I mean, do you care about Hillary Clinton in 2016 accusing Trump of colluding with the Russians?
No, and I don't think Trump does either, to be honest.
So
he was talking about getting retribution, and he has the option, he has the ability to do that, and he doesn't care to.
Yeah, do you care?
I care more about this information coming out in its entirety to people that don't know it than I do about them actually being prosecuted. I would rather see people who have kind of lived under the lie of these people, of this being some ridiculous movie of good and evil where one side is good and one side is evil and the side they happen to support just happen to be the good guys. I would rather see people who aren't currently awake to the evils of both sides.
The reason why I ask is because my theory as to why nothing ever changes is because you need only stall a development for a year or two before there's no longer any will behind it. Mm. So when this stuff first happens, everybody's like, whoa, this is BS. The Trump campaign's furious. You saw Trump on TV saying the Democrats are putting this out, it's not real. And the conservatives who supported Trump were angry they were being smeared. They got called white supremacists. It's been almost 10 years. It's been just about 9 years, just shy of 9 years. And so the people who lived it and were angry are focused on other things now.
Yeah.
There's no coalition anymore. Young people who are in their 20s. I mean, Mary, how old were you in 2016?
I was 15, 16.
Yeah. So right now, Trump is putting out information asking a bunch of, let's just say 15 to 20-year-olds to care about this fight as they're entering the political arena. And people who are older are probably like, dude, this is 10 years ago. Okay. What's going on right now with jobs and the economy and the interest rates? And so that's why it's so hard to get accountability, because the criminals are like, we only need to stall for a couple of years and then there will be no political will to go over this. And what are the Democrats going to say? You're focused on the past. I'm focused on the future.
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of come to that sentiment with a lot of things recently, not just with this story, but with most things that involve the culture war, which is like, I'm focused on my life, like getting married, starting a family, and all the things that I can control. And the rest of it just kind of feels like, look, this is out of my control, and putting an extreme amount of focus on it just ends up hurting me. And there was a time, perhaps when, you know, phones were new to your pocket and everybody started taking politics very seriously as some type of team sport mentality, where it really like resonated with people. And now people are like, well, I can't afford a home. The interest, you know, everything is impossible jobs are scarce for a lot of people. Buying a home is impossible for the next generation. There's a lot of blackpilling when it comes to that part of society. Maybe the focus needs to go back there rather than this stuff.
I do have to admit, I am rather, what's the right word? Entertained when I go on Instagram and I'm looking at the stories from like friends of mine I've known for decades. And these are people who just like have never been involved in politics. And now it's like, I'll click their story and it's just Gaza. Like 700 stories about Gaza. And I'm like, well, I can see what current trend is, you know, what current issue is in current year, because I know it's going to happen. 3 or 4 months, it's going to change, and the posts are all going to be about some other trending issue.
Meaning that those people, like a couple of years ago, they were posting Ukraine stories and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then before that, it was like Spice Girls.
I think you skipped a
Directly
decade or
before
two
that.
there.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope.
No?
Bro, those are millennials.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all posting weird drama, stupid stuff.
I'm saying there was nothing before. It was Gaza, Ukraine, and Spice
Didn't the
Girls.
Spice Girls do like a tour recently?
I have no idea.
I'm not kidding. They're posting about Spice Girls.
I feel like we would have known that. If they
When
did.
was
We're not doing our job.
Yeah, they're planning a tour in 2026.
Oh, okay. The plan.
30th year anniversary, and
Oh, that's gonna be an embarrassment, just like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
See, we need to get back to that type of corporate feminism. That's what we really need. Corporate backed,
no.
like where only the big.
2019, I was right.
Okay, so
Spice World 2019. It's exactly what I was talking about.
during COVID.
This was just before COVID.
That's why
Yeah.
nobody remembers
See.
because COVID.
Wow, look at that. But Posh wasn't there.
Then it's
Posh
not a
Spice.
Spice Girls tour. She was the
Yeah,
best.
they tried.
Yeah.
Out of all of them.
Tried. Yeah, it's like millennials being like, "Can you believe the Spice Girls are back?" And they're posting that on Instagram. And then COVID happened, and everyone's brains turned to Jello.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. No, we've never recovered from that weird cultural shock to the system.
And everybody just being awful to each other on Facebook during COVID for a myriad of reasons.
What are the expectations? I mean, when you say like that the one side has gone complacent, what are the expectations that didn't get met? I'm just curious where you were going.
So many. I mean, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, and I shouldn't say that I represent this huge swath of people, but I like could not be more disappointed with Trump. I mean, it's just cruel joke after cruel joke at this point. He's thinking of pardoning Diddy, more money for Ukraine, more money for Israel. We're bombing Iran, expanding a new visa program for foreign illegal aliens. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. And then you add the Epstein scandal on top of all that, and it's just wrapped in a little bow. And I could not be more disappointed.
He said mean things about Hillary Clinton. You know.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be bothered by it if he kept Hillary Clinton and Obama like criminally accountable for their actions. I don't think he will. It wouldn't bother me, but it would feel a little self-indulgent, and it would feel like a huge distraction from what people really care about.
But I mean, kind of to your point, I mean, but you know, in terms of people being focused on, you know, what they can control, wouldn't you say that things are a lot better than where they were, say, just 2 years ago under Joe Biden, in terms of ability to have, you know, that kind of impact over your own personal domain in terms of your own civil liberties and ability to make choices and engage in the economy and you know, and have your free speech restored and things of that nature?
I think you
no?
could give Elon Musk more credit for restoring free speech in big tech platforms than Trump, but
That's
can you be
a fair
specific
point.
about that?
I just think the culture has shifted back more to the middle where, you're not walking on eggshells over everything you say. We're not seeing as many, men playing women's sports and, kind of this.
I mean, okay, I just feel like the right is like desperate for something that appears to be a huge W. And I don't actually agree.
And the deregulation and,
with what you said about woke, basically. I don't actually agree that woke is dead, as everyone is saying. I think that it actually disguised itself more cleverly, and it's just covert woke now. And we don't even know that we're woke. It's just sort of a software update that everyone went through.
I agree.
Like we are woke.
Well, I don't know about
maybe
that.
not us in this room, but society has been dragged over to a level of wokeness that we're not going to return back from. And
I agree with you. I want to jump to the story to get into the core of this. This is from MSN. Spotify introduces face scanning age checks for UK users as some furious fans threaten to return to piracy. So here's what I think is happening. I think that woke has been routed, and we've pushed it back, and you're seeing now like the Sydney Sweeney ad plus that Dunkin' Donut. Was it Dunkin' Donuts?
Dunkin' Donuts.
Where he's like, I got good genes, and everyone's like, it's racist. But here's what I think's happening. The powers that be, whether, the international interests of the corporations, I imagine that they got together and said, guys, this cultural force, using racism and stuff didn't work in getting people to controlled. Let's give baby their bottle, but we are then going to go to the conservative woke route, which is, won't you think about the children? We have to protect the children. We have no choice. So then they pass these bills saying, if you're going to buy porn, you need an ID. And we all agree with it. Like, yeah, of course. No one should be. I agree with that. Then they say, oh, okay. Oh, and by the way, it means anything that is ever considered explicit now requires a face scan and ID. So now Spotify is face scanning people. What happens next? This is worse than woke. It's one thing if you said a naughty word on the internet and got banned from that platform, but you weren't banned from the other platform. Sometimes they did collude. What's happening now is social credit scores are starting to pop up through these kinds of systems, and we're seeing it happening in the UK. And I will tell you, they're the canary in the coal mine. That's the country where they were arresting people and are arresting people for speech. We can claim cultural victories, but we've had these laws passed at state level that we've largely agreed with. Like, hey, it's a good thing that
because of
kids,
Pornhub being banned.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now what's happening is they're going to go. Visa and MasterCard have banned something around, what is it, like 20,000 games? And the argument is, oh, but it's because they're porn. Apparently, many of them, thousands maybe, weren't even porn. It was just adult-themed games, perhaps like GTA, which was the target of this. They're going to go through payment processors. They've always tried debanking. We may have won on some cultural grounds where what we describe as woke has been pushed back, but the censorship industrial complex is just trying to find new ways to control what we can think, what we can see, and what we can purchase.
And now YouTube's going the age verification route with 18 plus right after they suddenly started pushing shorts heavily, meaning that kids are the ones who spend hours a day glued to their phone looking at shorts.
It's going to destroy most independent creators. When they age, get your content, your views drop by something like 60, 70%. And it's not because the video is being served to children and they're saying, no, you kids, you can't watch this. It's because people don't sign up. And if you're not signed up, you can't watch content they deem to be age inappropriate. That means the front page of YouTube is going to be Mr. Beast and nothing else. There's going to be 5 big shows that are approved by YouTube. That means news and politics will be gated. And that means the average person will not be able to watch shows about politics. And that's exactly what they want. They want you to go back to sleep, America. Your government is in control once again.
Yeah,
Here's American Gladiators. Here's 40 channels of it.
No, I think these are all great points. I'm just making the point that our political freedom only goes as far as our economic freedom. And so we are still really, early on in Trump's second term. And so if home ownership rates start to go up and M&A activity has already picked up and IPO activity is starting to uptick and, and things are on the uptrend, then I would say that that's definitely a move in the right direction from where we are. Because if you don't have your economy, you have nothing. You don't have opportunity. I mean, that's what makes us Americans. That's the lifeblood of our society is our innovation. And so, and I think it's too early to really make a call there on Trump's second term.
How do you feel things have been done with the tariffs? I know that's been a conversation that's come back up the last couple of days. Do you think the tariffs were a good idea?
I do. I think we're bringing in a lot of revenue so far in the tariffs, and I think he's winning there, and I think it's kind of allowed us to take control back on the global stage. I think it's too early to say because we have to see if the GOP is really going to follow up the big beautiful bill with some with more rescissions packages to try to get the debt under control, and if that's going to be a starting point or an end point. I'm just making the case that I think it's too early into a second term to call it a W or an L yet.
I think that's also has to do with the life cycle of the news being if you're on the internet a lot and you're just blasted with news every single day, like not as much time has passed as people feel because what is actually 6 months feels like 10 years sometimes because you're reading nonstop news every day. But the tariffs was one of the funniest examples to me of like, when you hear about like I support the current thing was like I saw signs in local businesses talking about tariffs and I was like, you just know that the people who read those, like they had to look up what a tariff was just to make sure that they were on the right side of whatever the issue was to the people that they're fighting with.
Like explained in pop terms.
Yeah,
I want
exactly.
to add to what we were talking about with YouTube. Users on YouTube who believe that their AI age verification system is incorrect are supposed to verify their age by uploading a government ID or a cell
That they'll
phone.
have
It
permanently.
all goes into their database.
And then you're going to start getting weird emails for services and stuff, and you're going to be like, oh, why are they messaging me? How do they get my email? How do they know who I am? And Google's going to use it to train their AI.
Yep.
And then the machine will know your face. See, the thing is, I've said this. In the real world, if you go to an adult bookstore, you show your ID, right? So why would we let kids on the internet do whatever they want, like on X? The difference with the internet is they're telling you to upload your personal information permanently. And so they're going to have your stuff on file. And then, you know what this is? It's problem, reaction, solution. They're going to come back and say, okay, you're right. That is bad. We're going to have a third-party company will assure us that you're verified, so we will never hold your data. The third-party company can then ban you for naughty words. And then when you go to the grocery store and you're like, yeah, here's my groceries, they'll be like, yeah, just, scan your credit card right there. You'll tap it and it'll say, bam, banned. And they'll be like, we use age verification, third-party app. And they're saying that you're a banned user, so we can't verify with them. And that's what we use. Sorry, you can't shop here.
And the third party is Palantir.
Yep.
Oh, snap.
Just
gotta buy
consolidated all of the data about American citizens that existed in each individual federal department, which is just yet another disappointment that I've had.
So you're saying I got to buy some
administration.
Palantir stock.
First thing I did after that first Palantir story was to buy Palantir stock.
I told you guys this story that Ian, he busted into my, so when I had the studio in the front of the castle, like when we first, this is like 5 years ago. Yeah, it was like 5 years ago. Ian slams the door open like Kramer and he's like, dude, you got to invest in Palantir right now. I think it was at like $14 or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
it's at
far
150
ahead.
now. And I was like, why? I've heard of it. I don't know. And he's like, dude, it's like this government like database tracking like prediction stuff, and it's going to be huge. And I was like, I don't know, Ian, this is crazy. What are you talking about? I'm buying Palantir. And so I didn't. But then I remember one day Ian was like, dude, graphene. And I'm like, okay, you know what, Ian? I'm buying a bunch of graphene stock. And so I looked up companies that make graphene products, and I bought stock, and I made like $100,000. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
He's a seer.
I don't know, man. Like, but he sounds crazy, so nobody wants to believe him. He looks crazy.
That's his struggle.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is if it looks crazy and walks crazy, the chances are it's crazy. But then Ian's actually right, so you know.
Also, this is like Spotify is introducing age checks. Why? Because of like parental advisory music?
They could. These companies could literally just say, we have the principal service, and if you want anything deemed explicit, you can then opt for that, right? So if you go on Spotify and you want to listen to like Eazy-E as he raps about injuring LGBTQ people with pistols in their genitals, which he did, maybe you just need to say, I want to listen to explicit content, and they say, okay, you got to prove who you are. The problem then is they're creating databases. But the point I'm making is they're not doing that. They're just saying everybody, no matter what, needs to face scan and verify because they want your data. These big tech companies are like, oh, no, I guess we have no choice. They collect your data, and now they can sell it.
But, Tim, there was a vibe shift, and Mark Zuckerberg got a haircut.
Wait, did he get a haircut?
No.
His
He
hair
got,
is
he got the
different than
broccoli
his-
haircut.
You got a hair. I'm not mad anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's another
amazing.
trick,
He did some
though.
jujitsu.
Compared to losing
Tim.
our sovereignty.
Mark, my phone number is 85. I'm kidding.
We were 2 votes away from losing our sovereignty. I mean, if not for Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin, right, like we would have lost our rights essentially as U.S. citizens because it was just
for
going
what?
to Just it would have been endless open borders in terms of having to show a voter ID when you vote.
Wait,
right?
they voted.
So they voted against it. They did not go along when the Democrats were trying to pass that bill. But if that's how close we were, to the end. And so this seems like very minor in comparison to where we were. And I feel like, our memories, we have a very short.
That's a good point. We were 2 votes away from Democrats. It was banning voter ID, right? It was making it so that anybody could just.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody can just vote, can just walk in there and just say they're.
It's largely how it is in Democrats.
I'm Tim Pool and I'm going to vote, and that would have been the end of our sovereign system as we know it.
Trump apparently wants a new census early, and they're talking about trying to push that through so they can get illegal immigrants off of these.
So they can take some seats away from California.
Yeah, Texas is trying to take away 5 Democrat seats. You see this?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So those are big victories that further empower the U.S. citizen. I think closing the borders. I think there's a lot of wins that, we're kind of taking for granted. I think technology is just kind of going where it was going, regardless of who which political party was in power. So that's just my take on it. I think it's too early to declare it a loss or a win yet at this point to Trump's second.
I do want to jump to this story. This is from Tom's Guide.
Yeah.
YouTube's new AI age verification is coming soon. Here's what's going to change. AI will assess whether an account belongs to an adult or teen. YouTube's going to start relying on AI to determine whether or not an account belongs to a teen or an adult and take action as a result. In a recent blog post, YouTube announced machine learning would interpret a variety of signals that help us to determine whether a user is over or under 18. My advice to 17-year-olds is just watch as much news as you can in between whatever it is you actually want to watch. If the AI believes the account is being operated by a teen, it will automatically apply age-appropriate protections, disabling personalized advertising, turning on digital well-being tools. Oh, that sounds creepy. Adding safeguards to recommendations, including limiting repetitive views of some kinds of content.
Meaning that it'll be like you've watched too much of this guy's content, time to show you something else.
It's actually YouTube saying, hey there, kid, I think you've had a bit too much to think.
Yeah.
Move on. So how does it work?
They will, if they suspect a user is underage, make restrictions like disabling personalized ads and activating digital well-being tools.
Yeah. Mary needs those.
So what is a digital well-being tool?
It's like a paperclip pops up and asks you how you're feeling.
Oh.
How is this
kidding. I have
different
no
than parental advisory stickers or needing to be 18
It's worse.
to buy a Playboy, when I was a kid, something like
Well,
that?
like on YouTube?
No, just like to go into a convenience store, not to age myself, and buy a Playboy
You
magazine.
show your
and
ID.
show
Oh, I
it.
see.
You show your ID for 1 second. They don't take a copy of it, put it in their binder, and then say, I'm going to hold on to this forever.
Because they didn't have the ability to do so at
They
those
did.
times.
They could have put your ID on a fax machine, on a copying machine. But they didn't do it. People got mad when they do that. There's that scene from Atlanta, you know what I'm talking about?
The show Atlanta?
Yeah. Where he goes to the movie theater and he's like, I want to buy a ticket. And they're like, okay, here's how much it costs. And he hands the credit card and they go, we need ID. And he's like, okay. And he shows the ID and they go, we're going to have to copy this. He's like, what? You're not getting a copy of my ID. And then he walks away and the white guy walks up and then does the same thing. And they're like, wait, what's going on? He's racist or whatever. But, aside from the weird narrative of Atlanta, it is rare that someone at a store would take your ID and copy it and put it in a binder that they're going to keep forever and say, we might lose it, but that's your problem.
They do have the 16 plus requirements to go to the movies out by us out here. Like after a certain time, you have to be over a certain age to go.
That's probably because the kids are throwing popcorn.
Yeah. Minecraft did it. What were you saying, Mary? You said you saw something.
Yeah, I tried to see which digital well-being tools they have. They have reminders to take a break and bedtime reminders.
Instagram's had that for a while. Mm-hmm. Like you have to,
But you have to
opt
activate
in.
it yourself. Yeah. And also, if we're talking about Instagram and Meta, they have been proven time and time again to purposefully target underage accounts with more sexual content than the rest of their user base. I think it was the Wall Street Journal that has released multiple reports about that, and they've tested it extensively. If you're an account on Instagram that is 13 years old, identified as 13 years old, you're immediately going to be fed more sexually suggestive content, usually pages that funnel into OnlyFans accounts.
Yeah, I think the ID thing's a Trojan horse, as we're seeing it applied now, the age verification thing. Again, they tried to go the woke route of, don't be racist. You're not racist, are you? And people resisted it. Screw you, I'm not racist. You're not banning me. So now they're going the other route of, oh, the children. the children at risk and conservatives are on board with that one. And that's the path towards creating systems of control and social credit systems.
I feel like the future is in making both sides angry. That's how I felt about the Sydney Sweeney one, because there's people on the right that were mad because of
Bubs?
yeah, well, yeah, that, and
They were like, children, don't look.
and then the people on the left are mad because it's white supremacy. So really, you want to shoot for making everybody mad.
So it's an Hegelian dialectic, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Make everybody angry.
yeah.
Well, another trick is that suddenly no one in TSA is worried you're going to hide a bomb in your shoe anymore. So you don't have to take your shoes off as long as you get the real ID.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or TSA preacher.
Preach
Well,
it,
you can't
yeah.
fly without it anyway.
Not you can fly domestically without it up until what was it, May this year?
It was an extension. Now you have to have it.
Somewhere in May.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I had the story I told you earlier. So my passport expired a long time ago. I had to get a new passport. When I went in to do that at the post office, I brought a certified copy of my passport and a copy of my passport, one that blatantly says like copy on the top of it. And they said they needed a certified copy, but the certified copy looks vastly different from a regular passport. It doesn't have all the same information on there. And the guy looks at the one that says copy, looks it up and down, uses that one, takes it with him, and I'm just like, I'm like, I know I'm screwed. Like this guy, like it went through. Like I got my passport, and I'm like, so on one hand, I'm happy because I didn't have to like file for like an extension and like an expedited passport. On the other hand, they looked at this document and were like, yep, that's fine. Rubber stamped it and sent it through. Like that's bad either way.
That's just
Still the government.
Yeah.
incompetency.
Well, yeah, it's the government.
Yeah. With the UK, it's the Online Safety Act. One of the funniest things about this story is that to get past the face scanning, people are using Norman Reedus from Death Stranding.
Yep, I saw that.
That's
because
really
it's so
fun.
lifelike.
Just because you can control the face and make him open his mouth and move. And so it's like, it doesn't work anyway, but they're creating a database. And I think the play is get conservatives on board with it by saying it's for the kids and then create this ID database where everybody's going online has to submit their ID. X did it. And,
Yeah.
and the right smiled as they submitted their IDs.
I did it. Everyone with a blue check did it.
That's right.
Norman Reedus, they're about to finish the Daryl Dixon Walking Dead. He's going to be able to cut his hair for like the first time in 20 years.
Hey,
if
there
he
you go.
wants.
But yeah, on X, Elon takes it over. I believe this is a timeline. Brings people back, then says, we're going to roll out monetization. Everybody starts getting these big payouts, and they're like, this is crazy. I'm getting thousands of dollars, every other. What the heck? Some people were getting like 30 grand in 2 weeks. It was nuts.
I think there was a little bit of payola involved there.
Perhaps.
Or they were willing to have a kid with
And they
Elon
were
Musk.
posting those screenshots saying, in the interest of transparency. Literally all of them were
It wasn't-
scripted.
It wasn't just women. Well, so perhaps it was payola, because then what happens next is everybody's all excited about monetization. But then we abruptly get this notification saying if you don't submit your ID, you'll lose your blue check. And then everyone went, whoa, hold on. What? I'm getting money here. So then so this is incredible. Elon brought the right onto the platform, offered them blue check marks and money along with it. Once they all agreed, he says, now we're going to take it away unless you give us your IDs. And they all said yes.
So
Yeah.
we did it. Saying he's been working with George Soros this entire time.
Oh, I don't know about that, but like the idea that Elon was like, they took away our jokes and it was wrong, so I'm going to buy the platform and then restore free speech is silly. Elon Musk was like, I want training data for my AI bot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I
He
don't,
said as much.
for sure.
Yeah.
But like people say, oh man, the Babylon Bee, I bet Twitter regrets making that ban because Elon wanted to buy this well before Babylon Bee.
So the whole Milton Friedman, or economic, that was all an act. Getting, paying people $1 million to read the Constitution, all that stuff.
What do you mean?
Well, he became a big disciple of Milton Friedman and, the Constitution, apparently. I mean,
I don't know
he did
about
put
that.
on this act.
I'm just saying that data is valuable. He wants to train his AI and he wants confirmed data. So what I imagine he's doing with X, the reason for verification is that he doesn't want unverified profiles feeding the X machine. So XAI is being trained on data, and he's making sure that only people that they have verified as real humans with IDs are having their data fed into the training model. That's probably why he did it.
So many of those verified accounts are botted anyways.
Yep.
X is just such slop now. It's just a
Everything
giant
is like
dumpster of
this.
slop. Every tweet that has high interaction, if you look at the replies, it's just more engagement bait in the replies, completely unrelated to the posts that you're looking at. There's no actual discourse happening.
Anywhere, though. It's not just X. Like, I'm going to tell you, I think the comments on every app are fake.
Oh, for sure. They tailor them specifically to you. If you even look at a TikTok and then you send it to your friend who's sitting next to you on the couch and they open the same link and look at the comments, you guys are going to see totally different top liked comments based on what the algorithm assumes you'll agree with and will interact with. Those are totally fake. I believe Fortune just published a report that said over half of online traffic is bots.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
Way more than that. It's dead internet theory.
It was trending today.
I kind of feel like everybody died a long time ago. And I'm only half kidding. Because I go outside and I'm like, where is everybody? Honest question. I go outside all the time and there's nobody.
I mean, like where?
Well, do you mean that they're all staying inside because
That
they'd
could be.
rather plug into the internet?
That might be. There's some instances where it doesn't feel that way. Like I went to the Christmas market in Chicago and it was shoulder to shoulder with people who aren't American. Yeah. And so that was kind of like, what's the word I'm looking? Disconcerting.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I'm here in Chicago at the Chicago Kris Kringle market and everybody here, they were from Asia. It was like the people, they were all tourists. And it was shoulder to shoulder. You could barely move. I went 2 years now because we used to go all the time when I lived in Chicago. And I'm like, it's all migrant tourists. And I'm like, where are the Chicagoans that used to come out and say, the Bears? They never actually did. That wasn't true, but it's funny to say anyway. And then, like I mentioned, I went for the 4th of July and nobody was out doing anything. Nobody in the parks, nobody in the fields. And I was like, what happened? Where is everybody? I mentioned this local restaurant went out of business because they couldn't find anybody to work. Trying to make food, couldn't do it. Went out of business. And then, you know what I think a big component of this is? People didn't have kids. And if you don't have kids, you got nothing to do. So I'll speak to the skateboard community because they're a bunch of degenerates. 30-year-old skateboard guy, he goes, I don't know, man. As long as I make enough to pay the rent. What's your rent? It's like $200. What? How? Well, I live with like 6 guys in a 1-bedroom. That's skateboarders. And they're unmarried single guys. And so I'm like, okay, well, we need labor done. Would you want to do a job? No, I don't need to. Why? I work like 10 hours in the week and then I go skate. And then I just beg or just eat scraps. And it's just like, this is weird. People didn't have kids, so they don't have to fight to get resources anymore. We're overly wealthy, lazy, and childless.
I mean, before I came out here, I was like, I had to work a lot because I wanted to live on my own. I didn't want to live with anybody, so I had to work full time. But the whole point was like I worked 8 hours a day and then spent the rest of the time skating. But that's pretty rare these days because most people, if they're in that community, they're going to want to go, and if they're dedicated to doing it like all the time, they're going to go live with people.
Living this bohemian lifestyle.
Yeah. During COVID.
How is that desirable, though? I just don't get it.
At that time? I mean, during COVID, it was interesting because
then when you go on later in life, like, how is that still desirable to those people? I don't understand it.
Because
don't you want to lay some roots somewhere?
They're deeply connected to what they're doing. They really love. It's like if there was an activity that you really, really loved, more so even than somebody who plays an instrument, who can make time for that anytime, right? Like you go to work, you come home, you can do that. Skating is a little bit different for a lot of people. It takes up a lot more of your time because you literally travel to go do it all the time. And they're willing to sacrifice a normal life to go out and do that.
Let's jump to this next story from the Daily Mail. Elon Musk makes bold play for an unlikely marriage with $3 trillion icon. Elon Musk has been openly hinting at a historic merger in the business world, suggesting that his company xAI should partner with Apple. Musk's company is the corporate face of his popular AI chatbot Grok, which functions similarly to competitors like GPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot. Meanwhile, Apple has struggled to bring its own AI programs to consumers, notably delaying improvements to the Siri voice assistant. Venture capitalists started openly speculating this month that Musk and Apple make the perfect power couple in the AI world, with xAI bringing Grok to even more people using iPhones through this proposed partnership. On the All In podcast, investor Gavin Baker called xAI's Grok 4 the best product in terms of AI chatbots right now, but added the best product doesn't always win in technology. I think there's solid industrial logic for a partnership. You could have Apple Grok, Safe Grok, whatever you want to call it, said Baker. Musk quickly replied to the comment saying, interesting idea. The billionaire added, I hope so. You want to know why I believe this is possible? Why there's a good possibility? Because when you pull up Nancy Pelosi's stock trades, in May, she put $25 to $50 million in Apple, indicating Apple would be doing something. And I'm going to stress this. Apple's got nothing going for it. They made the same iPhone every year nonstop for a decade, and people are tired of it. They're not innovating. They're offering up no real new products. So why would Nancy Pelosi decide in May that we're going to do this big purchase? Not to clarify, this is from a year ago. So the report here is 24. She filed it a few months ago. What has Apple done recently that has any play?
I feel like Phil needs to be here to defend Apple right now.
Yeah, he's like an Apple
Unfortunately, I'm a Galaxy guy.
Product. It's a sticky product, and it could just be that the stock is oversold. And I'm not saying that this is the case. I'm just playing devil's advocate there and saying that there are people who are Apple users like myself who will always be Apple users because it's the Apple universe that you really buy into.
I think Apple's cooked.
But I don't think that's why she bought it. I'm just making the case that
she knows something.
Oh, of course.
She knows something's going on. Perhaps some intelligence came across her desk where there is murmurings of a potential merger between, say, X or a partnership that would require some congressional oversight or something like this. And she was like, quick, buy Apple. Buy it now. A year out, maybe. I don't know. It's a stretch. Maybe not. I'm just saying she bought NVIDIA. Yep. She knows what's going on. She's got insider information. That's what Trump said. She goes, I'm not into that. My husband is. Oh, yeah, she tells her husband. So her husband goes, anything interesting happen at work today, honey? And she goes, oh, there's the new AI thing. Apparently, they want to deregulate AI, and there's a company called NVIDIA or something. And he's like, really? And he's writing.
He's got a notepad full of notes.
He has a bug on her lapel. And he's like, talk more, honey. And then when she gets caught, she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I don't know. Last year, she bought between $25 and $50 million worth of Apple. But I don't know. It's possible that her net worth is $260 million. So 25 to 50 is a good chunk of her net worth. Maybe it's the low end. That's still a lot. 10% into one company. Is that abnormal? Big purchase like that? You would know better than I would.
Of course.
It is abnormal.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, that proves it. That's it. She's doing it. Elon's buying Apple. I'm gonna check Apple stock right now.
Well, you can go on what's that app, and you can just follow the Pelosi stock trader, which
that's what I'm on right now. Quiver Quant.
Yeah.
It's called the Pelosi strategy.
Yep.
You know, you follow her, you would have made 700% over 10 years.
It's NVIDIA, it's Broadcom, Google, Vista, Palo Alto Networks.
See, hold on real quick.
Tesla.
Hold on.
She like Elon? She's got
Year
Teslas.
to date, Apple is down 15%. Honest question, maybe it's just silly and it's memeing, but does Nancy Pelosi make bad trades like that? When you look at her record, she doesn't. She's up 730%. Man, she's a prophet. So she buys into Apple and she's down 15%. I don't know. I think she knows something.
It's girl math. She's just like really bad at trading.
Well, to be fair, it's her husband, and because it's their joint net worth, she files this. But I'm just wondering, that's a big chunk of her net worth, her and her husband's net worth.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Does Apple have government contracts? I'm assuming they do have government contracts of some sort.
I don't know. Looks like you can look at what she bought recently. She bought, what is this, Matthews International? What is this? Oh, she sold. Sorry, she sold Matthews International between 15 and 50,000. Was that on a Friday? I don't know. July 9th. Probably taking some money out to go party over the weekend.
Yes.
AVGO Broadcom. She bought between $1 and $5 million on the 9th.
Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday. Ain't nobody partying on Wednesday. Maybe she was getting ready for the weekend, wild night.
It's DC. They can party any day they want.
No, it's California, bro.
Politics.
Yeah, I guess they're in session. So. Yeah. She did buy another between $250,000 mil of NVIDIA, and the same for Google, and Tempest AI. Oh, interesting.
Tempest AI. Yep.
Really? She bought Tempest AI, huh? Huh.
She was in the heart of Silicon Valley, I will say that. But the reality is, and I don't know anything about this new bill that got passed, but unless that they can prove that they had insider information, it's just been pretty much standard operating procedure for insider politicians who have other ancillary knowledge as to what's going on with these companies to then
Yeah, it
add
should
them
be
to their
illegal.
portfolios. And that's why so many of them are so wealthy. Should be illegal. Absolutely. 100% agree.
Basically, what happens is there will be there's a couple ways they can do it. One is they can introduce legislation they know will damage a company. They'll say, if I announce publicly that we are going to regulate this industry, these companies are going to go down. Short them now. Get those shorts ready. Then we file this bill, or we get some co-sponsors, we announce it. Their stock drops, sell it, we'll drop the bill. You never have to actually even pass any legislation. Or the inverse is possible that they come to them and they say, look, we've got this new bill. Lobbyists from these companies have been saying that this regulation's a problem for them. We want to win the AI race. So we're going to be deregulating, and it's going to benefit a lot of these companies that make GPUs. And then Pelosi goes, oh. She calls her husband. She's like, buy NVIDIA now. Buy NVIDIA. And then she does, and she gets like several 100% off her investment. And then they go, that's not insider trading. Yeah, they just get to make decisions whether or not a company succeeds or fails, and that's not insider trading. That's how it works.
It's depressing.
That's exactly how it works.
Well, that's why a lot of people were mad about this new Pelosi Act, the preventing elected leaders. What is it? Preventing investing. What is this stupid thing called? Pelosi Act. What does that stand for? Let me see.
So you know what SHIELD from Agents of SHIELD stood for, but not the Pelosi Act?
Preventing elected leaders from owning securities and investments.
There was an F, and I was like, "What's not Pelofsy? Pelfosi?"
George Carlin said it best. It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
And it's the same club they used to beat you over the head with. That's what he said. Indeed, it is. So the funny thing is, Democrats and Holly were on board with this, but Republicans weren't. And I was like, what's the problem? Like, this is weird. Why are the Democrats saying stop the stock trading, and the Republicans are saying no?
Which Republicans were saying it?
Rand Paul, for instance.
Oh,
you know what it is? Like, these guys are like, could you imagine being a freshman member of Congress and you're like, I finally made it. And then they go, oh, by the way, you're the last one in. We're going to ban you. No, that's the whole point. You think I want to work for $175,000 a year? Yeah. It was hard to get here. Yep. But now...
they get pensions, though, right?
I guess.
Yeah, they do. But it's not as nice as being worth whatever she's worth, right?
$260 million. That's crazy.
Just pure luck. Pure luck. She just guesses.
She's a prophet. Yeah. Her husband's a prophet. Whatever. Yeah. You see her freak out when she was asked about it by Jake Tapper?
No.
On CNN. She was like, why are you asking me about this? You don't need to. He tried playing the clip of Trump saying she's insider trading and all that. She got mad and she's like, I want to talk about Medicaid. And I was just like, I want to talk about how you're 84 and you should quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you've made your money. Like, you've bled us dry.
This is the creepiest thing about these octogenarians. What do they call it? A gerontocracy? They're ruled by the old?
Well, yeah.
What's crazy to me about all of it is just what is wrong with Nancy Pelosi's brain that she won't fucking leave? Like, just leave. Go away. Go away, lady. You're 84. Bye. What's wrong with these people? Just get out. Why not? What's going on there?
She won. Be happy. Enjoy retirement, right? Why do they keep coming back?
It's insane to me that something's wrong with these people.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they don't leave? Do you think they just enjoy exerting power over other people?
I do think it has to be some power dynamic, because I've been wondering this for a long time. People like George Soros, even people like Trump, like what, right? Like what
access to
him?
all the adrenochrome?
Yeah, there's got to be some, chemical going on in the brain there that they keep going back to that makes them feel better.
Well, also, it's like they don't really work that much. It doesn't feel like they're never there.
Maybe I don't get it. Like, you're worth $260 million, lady. You can eat all the Jenny's ice cream in the world right now. Just leave. And not just her, but a bunch of these other people. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. What is wrong with these people? I don't know. Society is cooked. Kids' brains is cooked, right? People aren't working anymore. There's no babies. Our culture is fractured a million ways, and you've got these sociopaths like Pelosi who won't just get out and leave. And then, with all due respect to the boomers, it's not all boomers, I get it, but boomers hold a disproportionate amount of wealth, and they won't give it away. I don't expect them to just give it away.
They want to spend it.
They're living longer.
They want to spend
That's
it.
right.
And yes, the Great Wealth Transfer is not unfolding the way they predicted. It's
So
unfolding.
Gen Z's got nothing. They're going to live in pods, eat the bugs, and you know what's going to happen? Communist revolution.
Yep. It was always weird to me when people would say like people will fall in love with free markets once it gets bad enough. Like no, they won't. They will. Somebody at the government's going to tell them this is how we fix it, and they're going to fall in line with that. And
I think what's going to happen is, or I should say there's a probability of this, young people are skewing to the right quite a bit. So I would call it cultural revolution. You know, I know that that's got a
that's
negative.
young men that are skewing right.
That's right. And those are the ones that are going to go nuts.
Yeah.
The government could never be a solution to the problems. I mean, I understand that young people, they feel like they don't have a stake in the system, and so the natural impetus is to turn to it. But if you just look at history, government has never been a solution to the problem. It never will be a solution to the problem. Freer markets and less government involvement is the only viable option. So that's kind of, what I was alluding to before in terms of...
I disagree. I mean, the market is overly regulated today, but if we were to loosen up regulations, you are not going to remove the multiple homes from the boomer generation. They're not going to give them away. And so what's likely to happen is, I don't blame boomers for being like, look, I worked hard. I've got 3 houses. Screw you. They're mine. These are my investments. I own stock in corporate securities. They're mine. I paid for them. I worked. Screw you. Well, there's going to be Gen Z guys. I think it's going to be it's looking like a rightward culture revolution, but they are going to take your stuff. They don't care what you think. And they're going to appropriate it for their cultural revolution. And they're going to say, they're going to be in their late 20s, these Gen Z guys. And so this could be 5-10 years, depending if nothing changes, right? And they're going to say, we're expected to have families. We're expected to work jobs. We're expected to live, but we can't own property anywhere. We've got foreign landlords, and we've got an older generation that is living too long, and they've got multiple homes, and they use them when they see fit. You are going to get, it starts with the DSA, but the problem with the DSA is that they're woke and ineffective. Everybody saw that convention they had where they were like, point of personal privilege, my pronouns are actually, can you stop clapping?
They were actually doing this when they were saying it too.
Yeah, and people were clapping and they're like, I have anxiety. You have to do what I want. So young people who are actually just angry because you can't get anything done, we're going the right. Because the left is crazy, it doesn't work.
But those are still the same grounds on which the Bolshevik Revolution happens. For them to do that successfully, they have to have some type of government authority. So it would be, no matter what, even if the basis was right, it would be inherently left. Otherwise, it's not successful and it gets quelled by those that are in power.
I would not be surprised if in like 10 years, there was government enforcement that seized assets from boomers.
And reallocated it.
Yep. Or put it on the market at lower rates or something.
But that's still left, though. It's a left-wing approach to things, is to take somebody else's property and redistribute it.
It's just authoritarian.
Authoritarian.
Depending on the cultural slant of the individuals as they do it, if they're like white Christian, traditionalists who are like, we're going to restore the American dream and the white picket fence, but we're going to need corrective measures, then we would call that right.
But you're not allowing free markets to distribute those resources. You are relying on force or the government or some other means to redistribute those resources. So in that sense, that's
an economic scale. So when we're talking about like the political compass, for instance, right and left don't necessarily mean free market. It just right and left means traditional or progressive. So some people use right and left to mean free market versus socialism, economic. That's the economic scale. The political scale is just like the fascists, the Nazis they're authoritarian traditionalists, and the communists were authoritarian progressives. So it doesn't matter what strain of authoritarianism you get. Some might say, well, that's still left. Maybe left-leaning. Like Hitler wasn't economically right-wing, of course. They had a command economy of sorts. They used cultural force to enforce what they wanted in their production. But I digress. Whether it's left or right is immaterial. I think young people, when, the Gen Z today, there's no way a bunch of people in their 30s are going to be like, I am content with living 5 people in a single unit apartment in New York, as the older generation sold us out to illegal immigrants. They're going to be like, nah, the power's ours now. We inherited this country, and we're going to take what we want. It doesn't mean that they're going to seize and redistribute like commies. I wouldn't be surprised, however, if they say, we're going to take your homes and then put them on a market at a rate per square foot or something like that.
Could it be that productivity just becomes so great as a result of post-labor economics and AI that there's no need for any redistribution, that just productivity is so high that it automatically creates a system where people just aren't working because they lose the right to labor anyway because AI is so productive. And
AI can't build specialty projects. AI can't open businesses. AI can't handle regulation. If the entirety of government went AI and regulation was just handled by machines, theoretically, it could be awesome because you don't got to worry about committees, meetings, fines, personal beefs. Unfortunately, in the short term, that's not going to happen. And so the issue I'm facing right now is I ask this question all the time, why is it so hard to get any job done? And we've assessed this over and over again. We need something built. Well, it took 3 years to build this building. And that's insane. It's a field, we owned it. Minimal permit requirements, took years. And the issue is no one wants to work. And there's no amount of money you can offer them to work.
that is true.
I go to somebody and I say, how much do you want to do this job? And they go, I'm busy. And I say, sir, certainly there's amount of money that you would take to do this job. And they go, I'm busy. And I'm like, what? I tell people all the time, we're trying to get an exterminator. We have a rotating cycle of warring bugs in this building. It's frogs now. There's like the spring peeper frogs are just dang it. Well, it's crazy. We had crickets, we had ladybugs, we had stink bugs, we had wasps. Now we got mosquitoes. And we called the exterminator and they go 3 weeks. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because that's when we want to do it. We don't want to come in. We don't need it. We don't need the money. And I'm like, I'm sitting here wondering why we reach out to so many contractors, we reach out to so many people, and they all just say, we don't need it. And I'm like, well, is there no workers?
Well, that supports my point, though, because a homeless person today has a higher standard of living than, say, the Pharaoh of Egypt. People are so spoiled, kind of what you were saying before,
right.
that
and they don't have kids.
And so if a smaller percentage of the labor force has an exponentially higher level of productivity, there is this potential, I don't know about in the short term, but in the intermediate term, where we're living in this era of UBI and post-labor economics where the basic bare means of subsistence are provided for people, then anything beyond that is just
it's going to be a pod with bugs. You're going to be eating mashed bug paste in a pod because they're not going to give you luxury. So I was hanging out and we were at this club where they have a fake beach at a lake. And I'm frustrated because we can't get people to do jobs. It's months out, it's weeks out, and they want insane amounts of money. And I'm watching I see all these guys, young men, 20-year-old guys, and they're just sitting there on the beach not working. And I'm thinking to myself, we've offered double rate. We've said, like, we'll pay you extra. We'll pay you double. And they go, no, we just don't, I don't need it. And I'm thinking to myself, why? What has happened socially where people are like, meh. Yeah, they're childless, single young men. That's their culture. That's a society. They don't strive for this. And they have no reason to say, I have to make money. Like my dad had to work 2 jobs because he had 3 kids. And so he was like, got to do a double. Has to get done. And then I see a ton of people who are like, I don't need to work, so I won't. So my concern now, you've got a lot of people who live in their parents' house still. It's not necessarily a bad thing to live with your parents, by the way. I actually think culturally and socially it's probably good, but not when people aren't working or trying to create their own families. With no kids, there's no future market. That's just a fact. So you're not going to sell anything to anybody. And as the market begins to shrink, we're going to get, I guess we're going to get deflationary pressures and we're going to get a strain on the economy where, I'll put it like this, any ecosystem that reaches equilibrium with its principal organisms and its food supply, the organisms are half starving and suffering and covered in sores and lesions because they're getting just the bare minimum of required energy to survive because it's equilibrium. We need to constantly be slightly below. We need an excess of resources so that we're not constantly strained and starving. But with a shrinking population size, labor is going to decrease, and that means there's going to be a massive older population that doesn't want to work, that has no choice but to work now, and it's going to get real bad because nobody wants to, and young people don't have to. So I've talked about this in terms of the Social Security problem. Right now, I believe it's 2.8 workers pay for one Social Security recipient. It used to be like 5. But with population decline, we're going to get to the point where it's going to be 1 for 1. How are you going to sustain Social Security recipients off of a younger generation that doesn't work at all? You won't. And then boomers are going to be aging and they're going to be like, I paid into it, I deserve it. And they're going to be like, well, there's nothing there anymore. And they're going to get angry. Young people are going to be like, I'm not working because even if I do, houses cost $800,000. I can only make $25 an hour, so I'll never get a down payment. This is the structure of how Ukraine effectively operates. So young people are going to say, what's the point of working? You're going to tax me. You're going to give it to the older people who already own, their generation owns the properties. So something's going to break because it's either going to be before this happens, the government intervenes and seizes properties from people and we go communist or something, or Gen Z goes right wing and seizes properties from people to force the social transition of wealth.
What about starting with seizing properties from corporations? China? Well, China and also corporations.
The argument is that these corporations, many of them are actually publicly traded corporations. And so it's actually, once again, the boomers that own the corporate securities in those holding companies.
That's true. But it would come off as less commie to at least seize residential properties from corporations instead of individuals.
You know, it's going to be real weird when AI takes over and eliminates a lot of jobs. Powerful, wealthy people will own the AI, the rights to it. You know what I was thinking? Did you guys see that, what is it called? Light of Motomora? Have you heard of this? Come on, this is pop culture crisis. What are you guys doing, huh? You've not seen this? It's a video game that looks identical to Horizon Zero Dawn. And Sony, I think, just announced they're suing Tencent because they basically ripped off Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, I did see an article on that, yeah.
And it was crazy to me because I was like, does Sony own the idea of tribal people with robot animals?
I mean, just throwing into litigation, the companies are just going to litigate each other to death anyways.
But here's the point. The idea is, for those that aren't familiar, Horizon Zero Dawn is, I'll show you. And this matters for the AI future. I love Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. It's a fantastic game. Let me just show you. Oh, this is hilarious. I searched for it and people are already. It's Motorom. There you go. Okay, that's too small. Let me just do this. Lights of Motorom Horizon. And they're side by sides. This is wild. Let's pull this up. Check this image out. Actually, let's just talk about this. Let's roll. We've got this from All Key Shop. Sony lawsuit bombshell. Tencent wanted Horizon deal before allegedly copying it. So for those that aren't familiar, Horizon Zero Dawn, the Horizon series, has multiple video games and expansions. It's a video game where you play a female tribal human. There's a bunch of tribes. They're rather primitive, but there's weird advanced technology, gigantic animals and monsters that are made of machines. For those who don't know, it's a decade-old game. The story is Earth was wiped out by AI bots that were consuming biomass until they destroyed the planet and turned into a barren rock. The solution launched by scientists was to build a bunch of underground terraforming bases so that after the biomass was completely consumed and the AI bots were destroyed because they had no energy, they would rebuild society with, incubation pods that would recreate humans. Something went wrong. Humans are tribal. Tencent launched effectively a clone of the game with robot animals that looks identical. Here's what I started thinking about this lawsuit. In the future, the wealthy people will be the people with imagination. If you can come up with an idea that's interesting, you instantly own that idea and nobody can ever use that idea. And if people like the idea, they have to pay you for it. So we're right now in what's called the attention economy. We had a manufacturing-based economy. We had a service sector economy. There were questions about whether that could work. Then we went to the information economy. We're now past the information economy into what's called the attention economy. Right now, the money you receive is largely determined by your ability to make people stare at you. And that's the easiest way to explain it. Podcasts are getting massive, YouTube, TikTok. The question is, can I make you look at me longer? And then your view of the world will be based upon those who have the ability to hold your attention the most, which creates really weird things like ElsaGate. I'm looking at this lawsuit and I'm thinking to myself, I mean, what was copied? Tribal people with robot animals? Can they own the rights to that idea? It's not like they directly ripped the story off. It's just similar. So this is what I imagine. In the future, your burger restaurant, you're going to be poor. You're going to live in the pod. You're going to eat the bugs. You're going to get your UBI, whatever it might be. And there's going to be some ultra wealthy guy. Why? Because he owns the idea of a certain kind of food. And when you go to your chicken store and there's robots making your food and kiosks where you order it, and you scan your palm or your retina to pay, and it's based on your government account, no one's working there. And the question is, AI organized it. AI filed the paperwork. Machines came and built it. The guy who owns it is ultra wealthy and flies around on private jets and does whatever he wants. But why? Because of the idea of the burger restaurant and the kind of food that it was good, so it's his. And you can't copy it. That would be illegal. The future is going to be, quite literally, people on UBI, if that, and the people of imagination who are smart enough to conceptualize things. That's one possibility of where we're going.
It's
All right.
totally plausible.
That's it. No disagreements.
I mean, how far in the future are you thinking about?
50 years.
50 years.
Maybe not. Maybe not even 50.
You made a good case. I have to give it to you.
Perhaps. We're right now. We've been talking about, there's an Amazon investment into, what's it called, Showrunner.
Showrunner, and then what's the other one?
I don't know what the other one is. What's Showrunner's website?
I'm trying to do enough research to repudiate your point here, but
Here we go. Showrunner.
Yeah.
AI generated sitcoms, dude.
Yeah.
Look, I'm telling you. I'm telling you guys. As soon as this AI is powerful enough, I am remaking Revenge of the Sith so that when Anakin walks in and Mace Windu has the saber to the Chancellor and he goes, "Don't let him kill me." And then Mace is like, "He controls the courts," and then what I'm going to change with the AI is that Mace is going to go, "Anakin, you're right. This isn't the Jedi way. Call more Jedi in and we'll have him tried." And then they come in and they arrest him, and Anakin never becomes Darth Vader, and that's the end of it because Mace Windu just didn't have to be a dick.
Then the rest of the movies don't even need to happen.
Yep, that's just over.
The funny thing about that is
well, episode 1, I mean, should have never happened, right? Episode 2 should have been episode 1, and then
Yes.
the Clone Wars should have been episode 2. But
Amazon is
We'll do that
dumping a
too.
bunch of money into AI-based streaming services, which is funny because they're closing up Freevee, which is their free streaming platform. I'm guessing they're probably going to end up using the existing infrastructure from Freevee to build out whatever that ends up being afterwards, because they're moving all the stuff that's on Freevee over to just Amazon proper. So they'll probably use the infrastructure from the free, like what is now the Freevee app, for that AI program once it comes out.
Dude, this is
I mean, that's
so
going to
weird.
be that's going to be down the line. They're putting investment into it. Doesn't mean it's going to come out.
This Showrunner website, they make TV shows, AI generated, and they used to have the videos on the site. Now, I guess they don't. I think. Oh, is there
I
some?
don't know any pencils that stand up and write by themselves. Creativity is at a Deep Blue and Kasparov moment.
We were trying to prove that it was possible to build a chess machine that could beat the best human player in the world.
Because we didn't build Deep Blue to make chess players better, and we didn't build AlphaGo to make Go players better. We built it to win. It's a completely new medium, and it's going to push you to be more creative.
I'm not interested in AI as recreating a process that we already...
Whatever. Anyway, they were awful.
Oh, it was Fable Studios is the other one that I was thinking of.
Oh, right. Yeah. We played some of these shows, and they're just not good in any way.
Well, the idea is like the next generation of iPad babies are going to be the ones who are going to go into the Showrunner app and just make their own shows without even really thinking about it.
Fable is Showrunner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fable Studios and Showrunner are like subsidiaries or something.
Same thing. When you go to Fable, it just brings you there. Yeah. So here, I'll give you this one. We don't got to do a full segment on this one, but have you guys seen this app, Gauge?
yeah, I have not.
We here at Timcast have decided that, maybe we should have this. See, here's how it works. Your employees are required to sign into it, and then you can see there that they'll get a score between 0 and 1,000. And then if they're naughty and they don't do their jobs, I, as the boss, can reduce their score. Here's the best thing. It follows them everywhere they go for the rest of their lives. So when they try to apply to another job, that new company can look and say, "Mary, you've got a 403. Can you explain to us why your work score is so low?"
That's
Isn't that
dangerous.
what references were for?
Well, now we don't need it because we have called, it's a credit score, but for like society.
Yeah, I think it's a slippery slope there.
It's going to happen.
You know, because what if a person between the age of 35 and 45 is completely different than who they were from 20 to 25, and yet they're stuck with that being typecast based on who they were, you know, while they were in college and they were part of some, you know,
What if
bohemian frat or something.
What if your boss is this lecherous movie producer who says, you know, if you want to move up in this company, you got to give me a little sugar. And then the woman goes, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to have to turn your score down. And then what if the inverse, your boss is some like purple-haired feminist, and then you're like, I'm here to do my job. Well, you're a man, and what you said was racist, and then you're like, why am I getting a bad score? And then what's going to happen? This is like the Black Mirror episode. You apply for a new job, and the boss goes, so I see that your gauge score is 615. It's a little low. Can you explain to us why it's so low? And you say, you know, to be honest, it's unfortunate, but sometimes it happens. I don't think my boss and I got along, and so I tried to leave amicably. And they go, right. Well, look, I have another applicant with a 783. And I don't think you're really selling yourself, and I'm not interested in taking the risk on a 615, but I appreciate you coming in. Goodbye. They don't care about you. You think McDonald's is going to tell their regional managers?
Though? Like, what happened to, like, in privacy? I mean, when did that stop being, you know, the hip thing? Like, just like, hey, what's mine is mine, and I have a right to privacy, and I don't want people to know my business and my past, and
people want it.
I agree, but I don't know if they understand where it leads to.
No, what I mean is, there's going to be a regional manager at a McDonald's franchise corporation that owns 50 locations, and the boss is going to be like, "What's our turnover rate?" And they're going to be like, "It's high." And he's going to say, "Why?" And it's like, "Well, because you know how it goes. You hire somebody, the references are fake, it doesn't matter, and then they're bad, and you fire them or they quit." And he's going to say, "What's this app everybody's using where you give a score? Just hire people who have at least a 700." And they go, "Okay, whatever you say." Starting now, require all employees to have it, so we can track their scores, and it's going to make it easier and safer, and give us recourse for termination without HR lawsuits, like workplace lawsuits. And then you're gonna be 18 or 17 or 16, whatever. You're gonna go to McDonald's. You're gonna say, "I want to apply for a job," and they say, "We require all employees to use Gauge." Then here's the best part: they're going to post your schedule on Gauge and say, "This is where you get information on your schedule. Make sure you check it every day because it can change." Then your boss is going to send you a message on Gauge, and you're expected to answer, and they're going to say, "I need you to come in on Sunday. I know you have off, but it's a rush day, and so we're asking you to come in." And no longer can you say, "I didn't have my phone on me."
This is the future millennials want too, because Gen Z is all about work-life balance, and millennials are the ones that are answering their Slack messages at 10 p.m.
I am anti-background check. I am anti-Freedom of Information Act. I am against all these things. I don't apply them at my own company. I don't do background checks, and I don't think so. I am just opposed to this on principle, and I might be the wrong person to ask.
People already use Glassdoor as a rating system for employers. Why can't it be two-sided? Gauge could be a two-sided platform where employers can rate their employees can rate their employers.
You know, I think the issue is the direction. If you have a company with 50 employees and you get a bad score, something's going on at that company for all of these people to be mad at you. And maybe it's not necessarily your fault. Sometimes the reviews are BS. But if you're an employer, one person who's bad, you can destroy 50 people's lives by giving them bad scores so they can never work again. Not to mention, it is creepy for a boss to be like, your score went down 5 points because you refused to mop the bathrooms. I think this is a creepy thing to do. Stars being like, I worked at this company, I give them 3 out of 5 stars. It's like, okay, I guess. This is a literal social credit score from 0 to 1,000 that follows you everywhere you go, no matter what. If I own a company and the employees give it a bad score and it fails, I just shut the company down and I open a new company. You have one account on this app, and you can't have 2 accounts, and it's going to follow you everywhere you go. And so if you get one boss that hates you, or like let's just go the feminist route, you get one boss that hits on you, and then you're like, "I'm not interested," and he gets really angry and just says, "Fuck you," and then he nukes your score. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I don't think that something like this would reach mass adoption because employers will know that there is plenty of room for situations like that and human error.
I think
they wouldn't just assume that the score is objective just because it was provided by someone's previous employer.
You, at a corporation, a regional manager, a mid-level manager, are confronted with 10 applicants for 3 available positions, and you've got 800, 800, 800, 800, 400, 400, 400, you're not going to go you're going to throw the 400s in the garbage. They already do this now.
No,
They'll already
I
use
have
AI.
to disagree because I will want to actually speak to the 400s to understand why they're 400s. And I've learned through trial and error that I think I would throw the 800s maybe in the garbage before I'd throw the 400s in the garbage. I want to know why.
I think that makes no sense. It's illogical.
Well, I just think like Rate My Professor, it does seem illogical, but sometimes that's how Rate My Professor used to be a big thing when I was in college. And I started going on there trying to game the system, looking for the easiest professors. And then I found that I actually got my best grades with the hardest professors. So I find that the candidates that have some type of unique story or whatever, that they tend to have more to prove. They have more to prove. And so it's just, you got to get them at the right place in their career.
80-20. You're going to be talking about a manager who makes $50,000 a year at overseeing like 3 McDonald's locations. And he's going to say, don't know, don't care. It's it's hard to get a good score. It is easy to get a bad score. So I know someone with a good score is at least able to pretend or hide whatever bad things they might be doing. And I'll take it because I don't got to deal with it. I'm not going to get sued over it. And I've got legal protection when I say we only hired a certain threshold. It makes it that I can't be sued when I say no to a bad applicant.
In fact, I just actually did this in practice not too long ago. I can't disclose like the specifics, but I will say that instead of the perfect candidate, I went with a candidate who really had nothing on paper and looked much more flawed, and ended up. I think I made the right choice. It's only been about 3 months, but we'll see.
And that's entirely true. That will happen. The point is, at the macro scale, when companies have to hire 300,000 employees,
that's totally different.
Or they have 5,000 hourly wage employees at a series of chains, they're going to tell their managers, I don't know or care. We only hire 700 plus.
So you think this would happen mostly at larger scale companies and smaller ones wouldn't adopt something like this?
Smaller ones probably will spatteringly. But I feel like this app is an inevitability because we're a small company and I've dealt with stupid government regulation and employment complaints.
But like if you were using something like this, like me or Mary never would have been hired because we didn't have any history in like.
It's for hourly only anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's hourly shift worker based. It's not for salaries. So we would never have this app in the first place.
Yeah.
But if you are a burger restaurant, look, it's really simple. The $30,000 a year manager of your burger shop doesn't care and is sitting there with all the applications in front of him and he's going, what time is the fight? Dude, I don't care. With this app, he's going to be like, delete anything under 800. He's like, filter out anything below 800. He's going to see 3 800s and he's going to be like, we only got 1 spot to fill. I got 3 800s. Everyone else is in the garbage.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's scale.
AI will
At
probably
scale.
do it.
AI already does this.
Right.
Yep. AI already does resume searches. And so this is really fascinating. You know what people do? They'll take out keywords for algorithms like work late, overtime, double shift. They'll make it size 1 font and white, and they'll put it at the very bottom of the page where the AI can see it. So when people submit their resumes, the AI filters are specifically looking for certain keywords, and their resume gets shoved to the top, despite the fact that they might already write, I'm hardworking, willing to work overtime, and I really want this job. By doubling up the words, the algorithms are weighing them more heavily, and then it's people are making weird AI manipulating resumes. Welcome to the nightmare scenario. It's getting crazy. It's going to get worse.
It is one of those things. Like there's a meme going around on X right now of the guy drinking the bottle of vodka in his car. And it's like what it's like applying for a job right now. It's like, welcome to your 3rd round of interviews. He's like, sir, this is a burger restaurant. Like a 3rd round of interviews.
Yeah, for all of the talk about people not wanting to work, it's almost like employers don't want to hire either.
Yeah.
Here's the other big thing too, because someone mentioned this in Super Chat. Dan Vicious says employers can't do references, risk of lawsuit. They tell you this. Every time, one of the first bits of advice you get when you're opening a business is anytime anyone calls your company to ask about an employee, you always just be absolutely neutral. You say, yes, so-and-so did work here. They no longer work here. I would not hire them again. Thank you and have a nice day. That's all you can say. Because if you say they did X, they did Y, it's defamation.
Yeah,
and
that's true. Yes.
Yeah, they'll come after you. So think about this app. You're a company and you're like, how can we adequately share that this was a bad employee? companies are going to be happy to do this. And there's nothing the worker bee can do about it. If you get locked in a low score, good luck getting out of that hole. Here's the other fun thing about it. There's going to be some dudes who are going to be like, "Hey, you own a restaurant, right? Hey, hire me on your app. Just give me good reviews. Like I'll give you $100." And they'll be like, "Okay, I want to get a 900, and then I can go apply." And that's what they'll do. Like there will be a dude at a Burger King who's a shift manager for $16 an hour, and he'll be like, "Yeah, I'll hire you." And it's like, just come hang out, and I'll just give you good scores. You're good. And there'll be a lot of that. It's going to be wonky and busted. All right, we're going to go to your chats, my friends. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. We're going to grab your super chats and Rumble rants, but that uncensored members only show is coming up at rumble.com/Timcast IRL at 10 p.m. You don't want to miss it. In the meantime, let's grab your chats. All right, Shane H. Wilder says, I'm glad Trump is calling out Pelosi's insider trading. She gets all these gains and can't send $1 to the Congo. She claims to be a Catholic and she hasn't heard about the Christian act of charity.
It's a travesty.
Uh-huh. That's right. Horrible. Alpha 2 Omega says, howdy, people. I tried sharing your Australia no minors on social media video being in favor of it. Facebook triggered a single post 12 times and flagged it as spam and removing it. Censorship. I'm telling you. So I made a video about Australia is banning YouTube for under 16s, and it got almost no views. And so I'm like, okay, this is probably one of the most important stories on YouTube for people on YouTube, that YouTube will be banned for teenagers, regardless of your opinion on it. And for some reason, it's not appearing in recommendations.
But Tim, Mark Zuckerberg got a haircut and does jujitsu.
Oh, he's cool now. Pinochet says, this isn't just against Trump, but an affront to every American. A violation of the Constitution. These are the domestic enemies mentioned in the oath I took, excuse me, and was never relieved of. No quarter. Oh, yeah. Let's see what we got. Vic the Fix Shaw says, about referrals. When I was down in Harper's Ferry 2 years ago, 3 bros and I stopped at HF Brewing, and it was 100 till they shut the place down. It was 100 till they shut the place down at 9:30. Management told us 11, and then tossed everyone out at 9:30.
Oh, they showed up at 1.
It was 1 till it says 100 till they shut the place down.
You mean like 1 p.m. till 11?
They showed up at 1, and then the business claimed to be open until 11 and sent them out early.
Oh yeah. We used to love the Harper's Ferry Brew, but I guess they sold it.
Did they?
That's I guess. We used to go there, and we were like, it's really cool that we have this local beer.
Yeah.
And so we would buy like 600 tall boys from them, and then something happened where a few months, like we'd go in, we'd order like 2 months worth of beer and have it stocked in the fridge. And then when guests would come, people don't really drink that much. We don't do it anymore. And then, 2 months went by and we were like, oh, we should go restock. We showed up and they were like, you can't buy those. And we were like, we buy them every few months. And they were like, no, we can't sell those to you. And I was like, okay. It's like, we talked to the manager, because the manager, like, we do this. And then they told us they weren't allowed to do it. And I guess they sold. And then we went back there for the first time a few months ago, and Brandon got super pissed because he's worked in a bar. He's worked in bars and he's played shows and stuff. And we got there like a half an hour before close, and there's, 3 of us in line, and, Andy walks up and gets a beer. He walks up and they go, bar's closed. And he was like, you just served him. Like, I know, but we just closed. And he was like, you haven't done anything. I don't know what it's called, but he's like, I know what you do when you shut down the taps. You can pour me a beer right now. And they're like, no, we're closed. And he was like, this is the worst place I've ever been to. I'm never coming back.
See, if they had the Gauge app, then we could just make sure that these people have 0 scores.
Oh, you can't. No, that's Yelp.
Maybe the customer one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess because he worked at a bar, he knows when the taps are shut down and when you can't serve beer, and they were still completely able to do it.
And Yelp doesn't always even work anyways. A lot of the employees, because they don't own the company. There's no stake in the company. They don't really care if they get bad reviews unless their manager comes and says something to them.
Well, businesses give themselves fake positive reviews on Yelp too.
Yep.
It was like, there was an article for the upcoming Green Lantern television show on Warner Brothers, and the dude,
the Green Lantern television show,
yeah, it's called Lanterns, and like it says, a Warner Brother executive said that the show is fantastic, and I'm like, well, yeah, because Warner Brothers made it. That's like me. I was like, a PCC insider says that PCC is fantastic, and you should go watch the show. That doesn't really mean anything if you own the company or have stake in the company, saying that's awesome.
Max Reddick says, Tim, a while back you were working on getting David Pakman on the Culture War. Whatever happened with that? with all due respect to David Pakman, he was very polite and said that he was busy with family. I think he recently had children, and I respect that and have no issues and nothing bad to say. I disagree with him and his style of content, but it is what it is. And, if he can't make it out, he can't. But we'll reach out to him again because we'd love to have him. I think it'd be a great show, and I think he would enjoy it too. So we'll see. I'd love to get like Kyle and Crystal Ball, perhaps. I watched this really funny clip with Crystal Ball just scolding Alyssa Slotkin on Israel committing genocide in Gaza. And it was like, Slotkin was like, yes, you are correct. And then Crystal was just like, but it's a genocide. And she was like, okay. And Crystal was like, say it. I'm kidding, but it was kind of like that. I was like, wow, Crystal, like really just like going after her. And then Slotkin was like, I wrote a letter saying that they're being starved. And I'm like, it's a genocide Olympics. Like who can say more about Gaza than the other person? How fun. Let's see what we got here. Fook Dirk says, if no arrest is made, then Trump term 2 is a failure for me, and I will be demotivated to ever care about the right again. I don't care how great immigration and the economy is, he will be a failure. You know, we live in a plutonomy, right? This country is of, for, and by the wealthy and always has been. And there was a report that was put out over a decade ago, it's almost 20 years ago now, by Citigroup, talking about how the will of the American people has no bearing whatsoever on legislation. And there's actually these really great infographics where it's like 80% of the country can want something, but as long as 30% of the wealthy want something, they get it. Mm. That's amazing, right?
It's like when you watch a show, it's like you watch something involving the U.S. government or like the CIA, and somebody says, it's vital to U.S. interests. And then you say, like, what does that actually mean? Like, who is the person who decides what U.S. interests actually are?
So what is he saying will determine whether or not he's successful? I didn't get that part.
Arresting the corrupt people who sabotage the government.
Got it.
But I mean, I do think there's a bit of a fault to that because what did they do? Stop Trump from carrying out his agenda. So should Trump's agenda solely be on going after the people who stopped his agenda, or should he try and fulfill his agenda?
Be better than nothing, which is what we're getting now.
We're getting a little bit.
Well, we got the border shut down. We have a good economy, so which was the agenda, make America great again.
Yep.
I mean, I think that you're reducing it way down from what was promised.
Fair enough.
Perhaps. Let's grab some more. Andre says, what do you use to measure sleep and heart rate, Galaxy Watch? You keep it on sleeping? When do you charge it? So my bed, I have a Sleep 8 bed. Luke recommended it. I got it, and it heats and cools as you sleep, which is good. But it's not like the heating and cooling thing isn't perfect, but it does try to adjust the temperature so that you don't wake up either too hot or too cold, which is it does work. But when I wake up in the morning, it shows me everything about my sleep. It tells me when I was in deep sleep, when I was in REM sleep, when I woke up. It's pretty amazing. And then it gives you a score.
Lying to you.
Are you sure that it's not going to share your biometric data?
Like that Spotify list?
Wait, what do you mean, am I sure? Did I ever say that they wouldn't?
Does it bother you that they almost certainly do?
No.
Okay.
That like, they're going to be like, they're going to share this data and be like, sir, Tim Pool entered deep sleep at 2 a.m., lasted for 1 hour before entering a period of light REM sleep.
No, they're gonna fact check you. They're like, Tim Pool said he deep sleep for an hour, and it was actually 52 minutes. And then Snopes is gonna cover it.
Yeah.
Knowing when you're awake or asleep is actually.
They don't actually need the bed to track that. This is the most amazing thing. There was this website in the early 2000s. I think it was called like the Spark or something. Do you guys remember this? Mm-hmm. You're old enough, right?
I'm old.
And it had a bunch of tests. And they were really rudimentary early websites. There's no apps or anything. And one of them was called the gender test. And it would ask you weird questions, and then it would tell you what your gender was. And you were like, how does this make sense? So basically it was like, I will ask you questions and then predict your gender. And it would ask you things like, which do you prefer? And it would show a bike, a boat, and a plane. And you're like, I don't know, a boat, I guess. And then it would say, pick a shape. And it would be like a blue triangle. It would be like a red square, a green circle. And then women tended to pick certain things for some reason, that men tended to pick something else for some reason. And at the end, it would be like, you're a woman, you're a man. And it got it right like 90% of the time.
That last thing just sounded like a PlayStation controller.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about it is that was before AI. That was just a basic algorithm. That was like 90% of the time women pick these things, men pick these things. And so we can make that prediction. Now, Facebook, based off of the weirdest of things, knows when you're going to poop. That's not a joke or an exaggeration. This has been published 7 or 8 years ago. Your mobile app has the Facebook, your Messenger app, or the actual Facebook app. It knows when you're moving. It knows when you're sitting. It knows when you're eating based on how you're moving and where you're at. So it knows when you go to work and when you go to lunch. Why? Because it has GPS data and it knows the coordinates of Burger King. So you go to work, you then get up. It knows when you're going to go to lunch before you do based on the patterns of your movement at work. Then it predicts you're going to go eat. And based on the prediction of when you're going to eat, it knows when you're going to have a bowel movement. And this is not an exaggeration or meant to be funny. It literally does this without anything, but all it needs is your GPS. It's crazy.
Is it called the TMI?
Perhaps. But you know, for Zuckerberg and the rest of this company, they're like, this data is invaluable. Like, you can control populations. You can predict their movements. It's insane what they can do. And I'll tell you this, I'm willing to bet AI is far more advanced than we even realize. The commercial grade stuff they're showing us, it's probably 20 years more advanced they got behind the scenes.
I mean, they had GPS for decades before it was ever commercially available, right?
That's right.
Like, I always imagine, like, if I was Google and I wanted government contracts, I would and they said no, I would just shut down Google Maps for a day. And then say, okay, let the peasants figure out where they're going. Same with Apple.
Think about how crazy that is. That I used to have memorized like 20 or 30 phone numbers.
Yeah.
Now I have got 2.
Yeah. I never written down. I didn't start writing down phone numbers until I was in my early 30s. Promise. I memorized everybody's, and then all of a sudden my memory started to.
Yeah. Now it's just you store it in your phone, and it's like I don't know your phone number. I know your name.
Did you see that post that was going around on X like last week where it was like, technology's going too far, man. My roommate got locked out of his light bulbs, and now we're sitting in the dark because he doesn't know his password.
Let me tell you about the worst thing about Sleep 8 is that when my bed gets disconnected from the internet, I can't turn it off. Yeah. So you get this. My bed ran out of water, so the air conditioner wasn't working. Or the temperature control. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whatever, I'm not dealing with this. So I went to sleep. Then I wake up with my alarm going off, it vibrates. It goes, boom, boom, boom. And I pick my phone up and go to the app, and it says, can't find it. So there's no way to turn it off. So now I got to get up and go to the box and unplug it. It's a nightmare. You know what else I want to stress? You know what I hate more than anything right now is TV. Let me tell you. Jen, you guys... Maybe you remember this. I don't know. You youngsters. When I was a kid, you know what I would do? I'd walk up to the TV and I would grab a little knob and I would pull it out. Yeah. You pull the knob forward and the TV would turn on. And there were 2 knobs. There was it VHF and UHF? And I'd go click, 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 click. But here's the best part. It was already on channel 32 Fox. So when The Simpsons were coming on at, like 7 o'clock or 5:30, I'd go up to the TV, I'd pull the little thing forward, the TV would turn on, and I'd sit down. Do you know what I have to do now, Brett? I turn the TV on, then it boats up, it starts booting up. It takes about 10 seconds. Then it brings me to loads of home screen, and instantly a thing pops up saying, would you like to update your TV? To which I say, no, I don't want to update my TV. Then a box pops up saying, would you like to update your remote? No, I don't want to update remote. Then I click home. Then it takes 10 seconds to load. Then I have to press down to go to the YouTube TV app, and I hit it, and it says, would you like to update the app? And I say no. Then it opens the app, and it's on some default pre-record, and I have to then select and find the channel. Gone are the days where I could just click the button and it turned on to the channel I watch all the time. Those were the days, huh?
Channel 3 so that you could go turn on your video games right away.
Oh, yes, right?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is they still have, with all that, they still have you like go to each individual letter and select it and then go back.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they would have figured that out.
Modern TVs suck.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I mean, what you need is a Roku TV with the very pleasant Roku City playing in the background, keeping
PlayStation.
Yeah.
I just do.
You gotta get a Roku TV.
I turn the PlayStation on, and I turn the TV on, let it boot. I don't care. I press the PlayStation. I go to YouTube, enter, but it pops up.
I want them to make a movie about Roku City.
What is Roku?
Roku City is when you have a Roku TV that's just a city that plays in the background.
Well, it's all of these like apocalyptic scenarios.
Is it real?
In a robot. They need to make a skibbity toilet Roku City movie.
Just load it up into AI.
Yeah.
I am going to make that scene from Star Wars where Mace Windu, where he's like, oh yeah, Anakin, you're right. I better not just randomly kill the Chancellor. That would be an assassination.
I think if I did it, I would take the movie Little Big League where King Griffey Jr. robs him of a home run. At the end, I'd have him actually hit the home run and they'd win. You
know what I would do is I would have Mace Windu accuse the chancellor of colluding with the Trade Federation to steal the election, and then bog him down with years of investigation so that he couldn't enact his agenda.
But he does declare him under arrest. He does declare him under arrest.
But then
to be fair,
he forced lightnings, and Anakin walks in, and then the lightning is rebounding onto the Emperor, and he goes, "Don't let him kill me." And then Mace Windu was like, "I have to. He's too powerful." And then Anakin's like, "No, he should be arrested and tried." And he goes, "He controls the courts. He can't be stopped. I have to kill him." And then when he goes to swing to kill him, Anakin cuts his arm off. Anakin did nothing wrong. Like, I'm sorry. If a religious military faction is trying to assassinate the duly elected leader because he's of a different religion, you stop the person trying to kill the other guy. The Chancellor didn't go to the Jedi Temple and try to murder anybody. He was in his chancellery quarters or whatever when the Jedi showed up and said, "We just found out you have a different religion from us, so we're going to kill you." And it's like, what? And Anakin was like, "Don't." And they make him the bad guy. And then Obi-Wan, he's the real bad guy because he torches Anakin. I mean, come on. Obi-Wan stows away in Anakin's pregnant wife's car, and then jumps out standing there like a dick. Like,
you should pitch this to George. You should pitch this to George Lucas. He loves redoing it. He never leaves it alone.
I would modify Titanic so that she chooses her fiance and doesn't cheat on him.
I would modify Titanic so that when she's on the front and she's going, yeah, she falls in and he's like, "Oh, crap."
What's with the young Hayden Christensen Force Ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi? Why are Yoda...
They changed it.
I know, but why? Why not?
Why did he change it?
Yeah, because Obi-Wan and Yoda are old. So why does Darth Vader get
younger?
Rewarded? Yeah, younger.
Right, yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
George Lucas is not of his mind. The sequel movies are the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. Talk about
in
garbage.
the original one, he had people that could tell him no, and there was nobody to tell him no in the later ones.
Sequels don't exist. To me, that's just Disney. That's a cash grab. The prequels, they could have got it right if
Yeah, the first one didn't need to
if the Clone Wars were Episode 1. Not the Clone Wars, but Episode 2. Attack of the Clones was Episode 1, and then they made the Clone Wars Episode 2. Because Episode 3 was good. It was just it was rushed.
It could be ironic. Maybe you could use AI to make Avatar actually interesting.
The big problem with Episode 3 as well is that it is rushed. There's no transition to the dark side. You don't see what drives Anakin. In the Clone Wars series, you can see him embracing darkness. And so it makes no sense that, like, in Revenge of the Sith, he's like, "I am a good guy and you're a Sith and must be stopped and I'll inform the Jedi." And then 10 minutes later, he's like, "I'm going to side with the Sith now and I'm going to murder children." It's like, well, why?
Yeah, and also General Grievous's character, like, there's no build up to that character. You get to see him in the Clone Wars take on that kind of, that Vader-esque, at least, the villain personality. So they really,
I would change a lot of
missed the
movies.
boat with that one.
I would change Episode 4. I guess it's called 4. And it would be like when Luke puts the computer away and the voice is like, "Use the Force, Luke." And then they're like, "Luke, is something wrong?" He's like, "No, I got this." And then he just misses. And then they're going to be like, "You moron, you turned your computer off." It's like, "But I thought magic was going to save me." And then it doesn't. And then the Death Star just blows everybody up. That's the better ending. Actually, what I really want to do is I want to make an entire version of Star Wars that is the truth. The truth is the Empire did nothing wrong. It's all rebel propaganda. The religious zealots from a desert planet took a cargo ship and blew up a military base. And then they made a movie about it where they're like, "Oh, but watch Darth Vader, he blew up a planet." And it's like, did he? Or is that propaganda? Yeah.
What's another series or movie you'd make a change to?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. Probably all of them. How about, what's the one I just watched? Happy Gilmore. His wife should have died of cancer. Yeah, like, come on.
But the Jedi maintain peace for millennia. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go with the Star Wars thing. They maintain peace for millennia.
Yeah, kidnapping children and indoctrinating them to their religion and executing anybody who's of a different religion, sure. Of course, in their movies, they paint it as noble. But, like, look how they use Jedi mind tricks, which we consider to be a good thing to do, to, like, prey upon the minds of your everyday person because they're weak-willed so you can get what you want.
Well, the Sith were anti-alien. I mean, they colluded with gangsters. I mean, they were.
That's all extended universe stuff that's been retconned. It's no longer real. If you actually watch the movies, the only real thing they did is they blew up. They blew up Alderaan?
Yeah.
Or was it Alderaan?
It was Alderaan.
Yeah. Darth Vader's like, "I'm gonna blow up a planet for no reason," and it's like, what? Why? So if, like, I think you could easily remake Star Wars where you could have, Darth Vader, who's a disabled war veteran, resisting this fanatical religious zealotry that are trying to impose their religious will over a government to the point where they tried. Let's put it this way. A religious militant sect has a high level of power in the government of the galaxy. And when they find out the chancellor has a different religion, what did he do wrong? What did the chancellor do wrong? There's a civil war and machinations. Okay, that's you got to prove that in court. You got to present evidence. You can't show up to his room and just be like, kill him.
Well, the galaxy was, I should say, the universe was oppressed under the Sith.
It's just a galaxy, not the universe. In the actual Star Wars canon, there's other galaxies.
Yeah.
So
that's why I said universe.
But he's not ruling. The Sith are not ruling over other galaxies.
Oh, really?
Yes. So one of the old extended stories was that the Emperor was actually trying to mechanize the galaxy because an external galactic threat was coming, and there was a story written about it.
That was canon?
It used to be, and they got rid of it. Disney was like, nah, throw it in the garbage.
And you're sure the anti-alien thing is not canon?
I think it is, well...
Or isn't canon?
They made this stuff after the fact because in the original Star Wars, the Empire was just an empire. And then you only ever hear him say, I hate the Empire. And you're like, but what did the Empire do? They blew up Alderaan. They're evil. They blew up a planet. You know what I mean? All right. We're going to go to the members-only portion of the show, my friends, at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. So smash the like button. Share the show with everyone, It's going to be fun. Make sure you use promo code TIM10 if you want to get $10 off your yearly membership. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Good sir, would you like to shout anything out?
Check out the app. Go on the App Store. Go to alio.com, ALLIO, aliocapital.com. And check it out. Give it a spin.
Right on.
Go subscribe to Pop Culture Crisis. We go live every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern on both YouTube and Rumble. Brett is going to sell it to you a second time. You can also send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived. You can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived.
I think we'll just let Mary sell it. That's good.
Okay.
That's they're more likely to click on it if you tell them anyway.
Okay, we'll go with that.
If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. And Pop Culture Crisis, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m.
We will see you all at rumble.com/TimcastIRL in about 30 seconds. Thanks for hanging out.